Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. It's time for Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of XRP Ripple. Are you excited? We're excited. We're suited. We're booted. We're ready to go. The question is, are you? We want to present today the best, most comprehensive, most entertaining, most informative, most supportive, most engaging show in the world for XRP. Are you ready? Brad Garlinghouse is ready to rock and roll. We're ready to rock and roll. Already, people are taking some profit. What's it all about? We are here live with you in the studio. It's a gold day, a golden day today, a very, very special day. Tap the like button. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Share this out. We've got exactly 15 minutes before we have Brad live on the show. Click subscribe and ring the bell. Tap the like. Share this out. Let's get ready to rock and roll. What are we going to see today? How is all this going to move? How is it all going to play out? We're about to find out. Join us on our journey to 100,000 subscribers. We are now at 87,978. 989. Go on. Let's get 88,000, the magic number. Now what we want is 88888, the luckiest number in the financial world, in the world. Come on, let's get there. Look at it rolling around now. 88,032. Are we going to do it live in the show? You ready? Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get excited. We'll be covering all that. It's a golden day in the studio. Welcome to the big event in the world for XRP. Great to have you here. Thank you very much. We've got just 12 minutes to go before Brad takes his seat and is live on the show. So we are waiting for the live feed. Woohoo! Are you excited? You should be excited. I'm excited. It's a big day. And we also have a star guest on the show as well. Let me just, I've got some information coming in. Okay, thank you very much, Sensei. I've got some information and some backup information. We want everything to be... I don't see what you've just sent me, Sensei. What is... I don't see what your... Sensei, can you send me that link, please, that you want me to look at? I don't see what you're showing me. What you're showing me, I don't have. So if you can show me what it is you're talking about, please do. All right. We're getting information coming in very thick and fast this morning, so we're going to be paying close attention. I don't see... Sensei, what you mean. I've just looked in the place that you suggested and there is nothing there. So we're paying close attention to an evolving situation. Everything's going to be moving this morning. Let me just check on this again. No, I don't see that upcoming event there. So we'll just wait. Sensei's about to call in and give me an updated bit of information. So things are going to evolve as we go out throughout the morning, I'm sure. Let's make sure we've got everything ready to rock and roll. We've got several links. We've got backup links so we can make sure that we don't miss anything at all. And, I'll wait for Sensei to join me. He'll be with me in a second. So welcome, everybody. This is going to be a huge, huge day. I hope you're all excited. I'm really excited. Let me give you a few things that you're going to need. So first of all, tap the like button and share this out. We've got 750 people now tuned in with us. We're just starting. tap the like button and share this out as much as you can. That will make a big difference. Consider subscribing as well. Now, you may be interested to know we've got a poll running on our X this morning. There's our X and Instagram. We're running a poll. Will it be a green day for XRP? This is on our community page. You might want to go and vote on this because this ranks on Google. Let me give you the community page. Aha. Thank you very much. Sensei has sent me he sent me a link here. Here's the community page. This is what you have said. 436 votes, a green day, 73%. Let me refresh it. 436 votes. Let me see how that's moving. 436, 457, 74% of you think, yes, a green day for XRP. We don't want this to sell off, do we? We absolutely do not want this to sell off. Oh, here we go. I've got a breaking story here. This is just coming from Sensei. Thank you, Sensei.
Custodian for its stablecoin. Joining us first on CNBC, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. Wow, that's a nice shot, Brad. It suits you well. You're looking very, even presidential almost. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Good to be back on Squawk Box.
You need a custodian for your stablecoin. Why BNY?
Well, look, I think as the crypto industry has emerged from kind of the last administration where the industry was being attacked, working with the most trusted, the most well-regulated, and even the best capitalized partners is a way to continue to build trust in this system. And stablecoins at their core, by their nature, it's a dollar backed with a dollar in deposits. BNY Mellon has, for a very long time been amongst the most trusted partners out there for as a custody bank. So we're really pleased. We think it's indicative of the shift of tide where we've had headwinds for this industry are now becoming tailwinds. And I think we're going to see a lot of growth.
I mean, all the way back to that duel, I think, right? Is that Bank of New York? I think, yeah, Alexander Hamilton. It goes back a ways, doesn't it?
That one goes way back. I didn't put a number out there because I wasn't sure how many years it's been. But the BNY Mellon, we feel very lucky to be partnered with them. And we think, again, building trust for the whole industry and having RLUSD, our stablecoin, which just passed $500 million in market cap. We launched only about 6 months ago. So we're really pleased with that trend line and feel like this will only continue to build that trust.
It's small compared to some of your competitors, though, at this point. How does that factor into how you approach the whole stablecoin industry?
So the stablecoin industry is about $250 billion today. Many people think it'll be between 1 and 2 trillion in a handful of years. The growth behind it has been profound. We joined the market kind of late, partly because we were using stablecoins in our payment flows for our institutional customers. As you probably know, Ripple at its core has been a payments company and solving a cross-border payments problem. We use stablecoins, we use XRP where it makes sense. And stablecoins, when we were using that, we were a big part of activity for us. We were minting a lot, and we thought we can participate in this market, given our institutional background, given the fact that we've leaned into compliance and been very regulated. We have over 60 global licenses to participate in these markets. So we feel like the growth ahead will serve us well as we continue to serve that institutional client.
This doesn't. You still want a banking license, right? Even though you have this deal with BNY.
Well, yes is the short answer. We have pursued and requested application to apply for an OCC license as well as a Fed master account. We think that the key here for crypto and the kind of decentralized finance, as many people call it, Ripple has been building bridges between traditional finance and decentralized finance. The world isn't going to be taken over by crypto. Instead, we think about how do we take the best of what crypto brings in facilitating faster, cheaper transactions and bring it to traditional finance. That's been at the heart of what Ripple has been focused on from the beginning. This is a step towards that, and certainly getting an OCC license. For those that have said that the crypto world wants to be unregulated, whatever, the opposite is true. I'm here in Washington in part, as you referenced, there's a Senate Banking Committee hearing today. We are advocating as an industry to be regulated. And those that, like Ripple, who have stepped forward and said we want to get an OCC license, in addition to the licenses we have with the New York Department of Financial Services, it only continues to augment that very robust, very compliance-first, trusted partner so that we can continue to use these technologies to benefit consumers and businesses alike.
There we go. There was Brad just a few moments ago on the way to the Senate building. Thank you very much, Sensei, for sending me that in. Click above my head for all the links down below in the description. Over here and over here, I shall put the whole Brad event live from the Senate today. You cannot afford to miss it. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other. We now have, try that again. We now have Brad live on CNBC in an interview, looking very dapper, I may say, just before he goes into that Senate hearing. And here is that interview. Okay, we'll put that out later, 8:56. That will be 8:50. We're making some clips here. So 8:50, Brad interview. Okay, plus end. Right, we've got our star guest about to join us. We don't need that anymore. We can get rid of that. Keep my eye open for that. Let me refresh our main screen of the hearing. We're waiting for them to refresh their feed. It's not refreshed just yet. It will be in a few moments. So we're going to keep our eye on that. So are you all excited and ready? This is a big event. We've got a few polls and a few things to celebrate. So if you are new here, go onto our X account. There is our X account there for you. You can take part in our polls and share this big day out. So let's go over to X right now. And we will be picking people today who follow me to make them famous on the screen and to get everyone to follow you. We pick people out on big occasions like this. So there you go. Here is the event. We're just gone live, the US Senate. We'd like you to go now and repost this out. All right. So there is the link. So we've got one person just liked it. That's me. I've just posted it 10 seconds ago. Now everybody repost this out. This is the event on X. Remember, I don't earn any money from doing this from X. I don't get paid on X or sponsored on X at all. I'm just here to tell the story and get it out to as many people as possible. So let me give you once again my X account right now. We've got 1,100 people watching. I expect to see this go up to 50,000 watching us live today. We had 130,000 watch us for the 60 minutes. So everybody repost this. This is really, really important. Post and like. Most important thing is repost. Liking is very nice, but what we want you to do is repost it. That's where we get the story out. Now, we do have a poll running as well. So I'm going, in fact, I'm going to add a poll to this right now. So let me do a live thing here. We are waiting now for Brad. So you're in the right place. Let me do a new thing here. So we're going to start off with XRP. Whoops, XRP. Will XRP be green today? Simple question is that. Will XRP be green today? It's because, of course, people could sell this. What do you think? XRP Ripple, put my hashtag in there. I will engage with my fellow creators, Sensei, of course, and Vaz. We have a thing called synergy here on the show where we support each other always. So there we go. As I grow, we all grow. And the question is it red or green? Or, of course, there are those that are undecided. There's always those that are undecided. And what we'll do, we will share this just for one day. Will it be red or green? So normally I do a 7-day poll, but this will be red or green or undecided. Let me post it, and I'd like your thoughts in this poll. There you go. There is the poll. Let me give you the link to X once again. Make sure that you vote and repost. Now, look at this. As we go into the event, people are selling it again. Let's see. This is healthy trimming, though. Healthy trimming is not a problem. Let's see how far down this goes, though. Will it be a sell the news event? I don't think so. But let's see what happens. So are you ready? Go and vote on that. I'll just refresh the screen, see if it's moving. We want to see if we can get 1,000 reposts, because we've got 1,100 watching, so we should get 1,000 reposts. If you're not on X, go on, join us on X. We share everything with you every day here on X, and we're always trying to engage with you. Okay, so I'll come back to that in a moment. Now then, if you would like my Instagram, there's Instagram as well. What also, right, it's now 9 o'clock. The event starts in 15 minutes. It's been scheduled for 15 minutes from now. We'll get the live feed at any moment. So we're on standby waiting for that to happen. So you're in the right place. We've got multiple feeds, backup feeds, so we've got plenty of time. All right. So one thing that we're trying to do is, as we have such a large audience, is to be able to raise millions of dollars for charity. Now, this is very personal for me, because the children that were lost in Kerrville is where the Lions camp is, the Lions Club camp is. And this is my Lions Club plaque. I've raised millions of dollars for the Lions Club. This is my Jack Weech trophy. I've got lots of things like this. And that was raised for the Lions camp. Look, in Kerrville. I don't know if you can actually see that, but that's where this sad occasion occurred. Look, I don't know if you can quite see it. It just says there you go, look, Lions camp. That's in Kerrville. Now, we want to raise millions of dollars to help rebuild the area, but also help those children. So how to do that is become a subscriber on my music channel, because at 10,000 subscribers, YouTube turn on charitable giving. That enables me to do an event, a fundraiser event, where I will be able to link the event through YouTube officially with the registered charity. So when we go live, they will get all the money that the show creates through sponsorship, ad revenue, whatever it might be. They will get all the money. There's no fee for me. There's no commission. There's no credit card fees. There's no charges. 100% is the most profitable, most beneficial way to help charitable events. So please go and do that right now. If you do it now, if you subscribe to me, you haven't got to watch, you haven't got to listen to my music, you haven't got to donate, but help me get to 10,000 so we can turn on charitable giving. We have it on this channel, but we don't have it on the music channel. So please go and do that right now. As we're waiting for Brad to take the stage, please, if you could, it would be amazing. Your name will come up on the screen, so you'll be recognized for doing it. This is the music channel. I've also got a sanctuary from Dallas just contacted me yesterday. They want to do an event for abandoned tigers. Can you believe it? That's a need in America. You can see we're at 8,044. I make no money from these videos at all. It's all copyrighted music that I sing. So as you know, we have the XRP song. You can even, in fact, I'll give you the XRP song. There you go. Let me give you the XRP song, because you'll all want to share this. You all want to share this and then go and sub to the music channel. There you go. There's the XRP. Let me put that in there, actually. XRP song. Help me raise money for the Texas floods. There you go. So you've got lots of reasons now to do that, right? There it is. I'm going to pin that to the top for a moment. Pin the message. All right. There's the XRP song. XRP, always believe in your flow. All right, so I'm going to have that back then, do that again in a minute. All right, so please go and support me on there. Your name will come up on the screen and it will be amazing. Right, we've got our star guest on the show, so I'm going to bring him in right now. So we're going to leave XRP in the center. That's where Brad will be in a few moments. Come on, everybody.
Fake Creations donated $2 through a super chat. SPCE.
Yes,
rocket emoji,
SPCE
rocket
is
emoji,
potentially
rocket
short
emoji.
squeezing today. Yes, it is. What a great day. Look at that, up 7%. We have got a short squeeze. We can't really focus on it today, but let me bring my star guest on the show today. We've got Sensei live in the chat. He's got a star seat. Here he is. Sensei, good morning, good afternoon to you. How are you, mate? I think you're muted. Oh, no, it said, no, I've muted you. My mistake. Sensei, let me just move that as well. We want to put that up there if we get lots of subscribers. Sensei, good morning. Welcome to you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show, Martyn.
Thank you. Are you looking great? You're looking great there, mate. I love it. Yes, he put his best suit on today. He's ready to go. We love it. Let me just get you lined up there. Perfect. So the same as me. That's looking great. Okay, so there is the XRP song. Make sure that you do go and join us with that. I'm going to go back over to the normal screen just for the minute because we haven't got Brad on the show just yet. Yeah. So let me.
I've sent you a link. I don't know if this one might be any better. I don't know if you're looking at the same thing where it says it has the view of the what the event is about to start. Just sent you another link on Discord.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me go and get that then as well. We got extra backup links just in case. You never know. You start these events and we have all sorts of surprises. So we cover all of that. Thank you, Sensei. Let me go and see if we've got that. Aha. Okay, we do have it now. So yes.
And you can open in a new window as well. It allows.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll leave it where it is. This is it, right? So we can bring this up now. There we go.
Yeah,
I've got it. I'll just mute it just in case they should play any audio. So this is how it's going to look for the event. Are we ready? There it is. There it is. We are set and ready to rock and roll. Oh, there we go.
Crow265 donated $2 through a super chat. Sensei looks fresh. Thanks to you both for the show.
You are very welcome. You're very welcome. We do just want to share that news though. That Virgin Galactic is also short squeezing. Look at that, 8.48 today. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Up 8.48. Wonderful to show that on the screen today. The overall portfolio is up. The S&P is up. XRP is trimming, but that's healthy. I think Sensei will agree on that. There's the event. We are playing it. It's running. We'll keep coming back and checking it and double checking it. You will not miss anything with us this morning. So before we can carry on, we're going to invite once. Well, oh, that's not so good. I don't like that. Let me move my little. Let me move that, Sensei, while you're joining me. Oy. I don't want that. Let me get. Oh, I can't move it. Hang on. Yeah, you keep. That's it. You stay there a minute. Let me move that. Because we don't want that there when you're there. You go. That's better. We'll put it there. All right. Good stuff. So please tap the like button. Share this out to more people. There is 1,200 watching. So you know what we're going to do? As we're waiting for Brad to take the stage, we have exactly I think maybe 7 minutes. We're going to get straight to 1,000 likes. You ready? Let's pump it up. 1,000 likes because we've got 1,200, 1,300 watching now. You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. I love this music, Sensei. You did good with this. You did good with this, mate. Do-be-do-do. Oi! XRP, you see it flashing above my head? You go, see it? Boom, 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 boom. Everyone tap the like button. Let's get ready to rock and roll. We got 352. It's going to be a huge day today. Yes, Virgin Galactic is short squeezing at the same time. We're waiting for Brad to take the stage. There's XRP going up again. We're now at 88,000. We want 888. That is the luckiest number in the world for finance. 88,888. Come on, everybody. Subscribe. Do it right now. Share this out on our X account. The luckiest number in the world is 88,888. Ask the Chinese. They'll tell you all about it. It's rolling. It's rolling. It's rolling. It's rolling. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. All right, let's have a look at XRP right now. How are we doing? The Bank of America is selling off this morning. XRP is breaking up again. We love it. All right. It's an exciting day. We are loving it. Oi! There's the event. We're just moments away. We're waiting for it to start. We're waiting for Brad to take the stage. So before we get there, because we've only got really a couple of minutes, we want to give you some very important stuff. We're up to 465 likes. We're nearly there. Come on, everybody, smash the like button, get involved. Let me give you a few links before we get started. So here's a few things you need. There's my, whoops-a-daisy, I don't need the thank you button. Well, I mean, we're always thanking you, but there we go. We want to put on my X account. Now, when you go to my X account, you can also follow Sensei as well. You can follow both of us. By finding me, you will find my whole team. Let me share with you our X account. Let me just go over there right now. Okay, here we go. And from here, you'll see I only follow 3 people. I follow myself, my musical self, that is. I've my personal side. There's Sensei and Vaz. That's our team. So when you follow me, if you want to hear from the full team of what we're doing, you could just follow all of us. So by me giving you that link, you've got the link to all of us. Now, make sure when you get there, you vote on this poll and you repost this out. This is a big story today. We want to make sure that everybody shares it. All right, that's the first thing. Let me go back to Sensei's link that he sent for me. Let me double check this one as well. I've got several links. There we go. Going to keep playing that. Going to keep playing that. The other link, I'm just going to stop that a minute. The other link I want to give you is, and I've got 3 minutes to tell you about it. We have got in fact, Sensei's probably going to tell me this may have already sold out. Sensei, how is the... let me come back to you on here. How is the Brad Garlinghouse shop doing? There's only 10. How are we doing with these? Is there still some available? Let me put it in the chat.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a few still available. I think everyone's waiting for the event. But yeah, this mug is to oh, sorry for the background noise. There's a motorcycle going past.
No worries.
This mug is to commemorate the day that everything changes. In my opinion, it's a massive day. The mug is there. XRP is not a security is the main thing here. Plus, Brad going to Senate. So there is only 10 available. If you scroll up on the page as well, Martyn, you can see at the top of the page, if you go a bit higher, you can see... there it is. You can get the mug and the t-shirt, first time ever, 25% off. So that's the mug and the t-shirt together, not one of them, both of them together, 25% off. That's about £45 for a mug and an XRP t-shirt. So go ahead and go grab it while they last. Only 10 available, 25% discount when you get the t-shirt as well. What a great offer for you guys there too.
Thank you very much. Now, also today we covered this in our news letter as well. Did anyone subscribe to the music channel? I'm going to take that off the screen now and I gave you a few moments there. We want to really do raise lots of money for those children of Kerrville. We just need you to subscribe to the music channel and get us over the 10,000. So here is the newsletter. Now, how long have I got? I've got about 1.5 minutes. So replace the pin. Let me drop that up the top. There is the newsletter. We've got a poll running at the moment. You say 82% green, 1,263 votes. There's the newsletter. When you click on that, it will take you to here. You can try our newsletter for free for 7 days. There's the free day. That's the best way of doing it. The free 7-day free trial. You might like to do that. That's the best way of doing it. 7-day free trial. Check it out. And we have our newsletter every single trading day. It's quite incredible how often Sensei does this. He's on it like a car bonnet. I love it. Right. Okay. I want to stay on this screen now. I want to keep refreshing it. I don't want to miss anything
as well.
Yeah. We want to stay on this now because we could be any moment now. We've got it running. It's playing. It's streaming. We will go to full screen when it begins. There it is. So we've got just a few more seconds. What do you expect from today, Sensei?
I expect this to be a very pivotal day. As I said, and I'll repeat it because it's important, is that this isn't just a random date. Brad Garlinghouse is coming on just for a bit of fun. This is important because Brad is testifying as Congress is considering major crypto legislation, the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, and the anti-CBDC surveillance bill. So he's going in there to get...
Oops, hang on a minute. Let me just unmute you. Sorry about that. Carry on, Sensei. I apologize.
No worries. Yeah, so the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, and the Anti-CBDC Act, they're all going through big crypto legislation. This will help Ripple. Ripple's always for regulation, not regulation by enforcement, but having the parameters in place so they can compete and they will be the top of the pile and others can compete. And this will really...
Sensei, let me just jump in for a second, mate, because I've got to watch the time. I just want to do an intro promo video for this event later. Okay, so... Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. I have live with me Sensei. Good morning, Sensei. How are you, mate?
Good. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on this very important day.
Indeed. And as you can see live on the screen, we are waiting just seconds away from Brad Garlinghouse taking the stage. Yes. Shall we give him a cheer? Let's give him a cheer. We're excited. So make sure that you watch this full event. If you've missed it, you can watch it later. Make sure that you join us. There is the XRP chart. It did sell off a little bit, but it's going back up again. So what we want you to do is tap the like button. Have you done that? Have you subscribed? You've done that? Wonderful stuff. Now all I'm going to do is give you the link. This is where we are live covering it. Brad is going to be in there with me in a moment. And we're going to have all our guests on the screen, all 10 of you around the outside as well. All that's coming up. But right now, I want to give you the link to the event. So in case you missed it, you can watch it later. And we're providing the best XRP coverage in the world. Click above my head for the links, down below in the description. Over here, I shall put the event if you missed it, and down here, the playlist. If we create special moments throughout the day, things that you might want to know, they'll be down here in the XRP playlist. That's it from me. Until next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other. All right, I wanted to get that out in case we need that later on. Okay, we're still on standby. I'm going to keep refreshing this. I don't take it for granted that everything is working because things don't always go to plan. So we want to always double check our feed. Yeah, we're relinking it. We're waiting for it. Nothing we can do just yet. So, Sensei, sorry I interrupted you. Give us some more insights, please.
Yes, I was just trying to remember what I was talking about. Yeah, the three acts are very important. No worries. The three acts, that's why it's coming on. It's not random. It's very strategic. We saw his opening remarks. We covered that live on the show yesterday. He mentions XRP quite a few times in that letter. Ripple leverages the XRP ledger, a decentralized, battle-tested, open-source blockchain, and its native digital asset XRP to facilitate payments. XRP to enable fast.
We have audio coming through.
We've got audio coming through, don't we?
Yeah.
Something starting.
Yeah.
So yeah, he is mentioning XRP quite a few times. It will be interesting to see if XRP is mentioned during this. This is going to affect the price. This is going to be important. Just like the other week, he accidentally mentioned 14% of Swift could be overtaken by Ripple. He might say something like that here in this stream that we're about to tune into. So a lot can happen in the next hour or two. I don't know how long this is going to go on for.
Now, what I'm going to do is it's first come, first serve. You have to be a member. This will go very quickly. If you want to be part of it and you want to join me here, you can be up here with me. So I'm going to... I got Sensei down the bottom there. I don't quite like that, but let me change that. How do I change that? I'll come back to that in a minute. Sorry about that, Sensei. But I do want to get you all on the screen with me. So I'm going to give you the live video phone-in. We're waiting for the call to start. Live video phone-in. You have to be a member. You have to tell me you're calling in, and then I will pick up the phone to you. All right? So if you want to be on the show, live video phone-in. Let me pin it to the top. There we go. If you're not a member yet, That's how you become a member. Remember, if you are on an iOS device, iPhone or iPad, you need to be on a browser, a desktop version. And, here we
Good
go.
morning to everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and get this market structure hearing started. I want to begin by celebrating a significant win for the American people. Just a few weeks ago, the Senate passed the bipartisan Genius Act, the soon-to-be first federal framework for payment stablecoins. Genius is the first step towards revolutionizing the financial system and updating our payment systems, and will secure U.S. global's dollar dominance for decades and decades to come. It's also a win for consumer protection and for national security. But passing Genius is more than just a legislative win. It's a testament to what's possible when Congress works together and puts principles before partisan politics. We can deliver actual results for the American people. From day one, I've promised under my leadership here at the Banking Committee that we would return to what we call regular order and deliver real results for the American people. With the Genius Act, we did just that. And now we have an opportunity and a chance to build on that success. Today's hearing is the first for this hearing on digital assets. This is a crucial step toward developing a comprehensive framework that gives innovators the clarity they need and gives investors the protections they deserve. Because make no mistake, blockchain technology and digital assets are not going away. They are here to stay. The question we should ask ourselves is whether the United States will lead in shaping the future of digital finance, or whether we'll let other countries like Singapore and the UAE set the standards while American jobs and innovation leaves our shores. Unfortunately, the Biden administration failed to meet the moment. Instead of clear rules, we saw an enforcement-first approach that punished innovation and created a legal minefield for entrepreneurs. However, the Trump administration understands the importance of innovation, opportunity, and keeping American talent on American soil. It's time to get back to that pro-growth, pro-America first mindset. Here's the reality. The market, not Washington, should decide what works. Our job is to set clear, light-touch guardrails to protect investors, stop fraud, and allow responsible innovation to flourish. But instead, regulators under the Biden administration have sent mixed messages, forcing companies to spend millions and millions of dollars just to guess at what's legal.
If you are calling in, you have to you have to be a member and give me your name
SEC
in the chat.
And the CFTC
Otherwise, I don't know you're a member.
Contradict each other, while the American people are left just to guess and, frankly, left behind. That confusion has consequences. Innovation is leaving, jobs are leaving, and the global competitors are filling that vacuum. That's why the Senate Banking Committee Republicans have put forward clear principles for market structure legislation. Principles that recognize the need to clarify and clearly define what is a commodity, what is a security, and how digital assets can trade and be custodied in a way that fosters innovation while protecting investors. We don't need more roadblocks. We need rules that actually work. That means legislation that will, number one, clearly define which tokens are securities. 2, supports modern trading. 3, ensures appropriate illicit finance protections are in place. And 4, protects investors while fostering innovation. And let's set the record straight. Crypto isn't lawless. It's traceable. In fact, crypto companies are helping law enforcement track illicit activity with greater precision than traditional finance allows. The data shows that more illegal activity still happens with cash than with crypto. Today, we'll hear from a strong panel about what's working, what's broken, and what reforms are needed. This is not about scoring political points. It's about protecting investors, rewarding innovation, and ensuring that the next generation of financial technology is made in America. Let's seize this opportunity together and deliver clarity, consistency, and leadership the American people deserve. Thank you to our witnesses for participating in today's hearing. Such a very important hearing, and I look forward to your discussion. Ranking Member Warren.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start with an apology. I'm going to be bouncing in and out. This is also the markup of the National Defense Authorization Act, and we are in live rewriting of the bill, and so I'm going to have to spend a lot of time over there. And I appreciate the chairman's and the rest of the committee's indulgence.
If you are
here.
calling in, you need to be a member.
I want to thank you for having this hearing today.
And tell me your name that you're calling in on,
for
so I can recognize you as a
stronger
member
rules
with a
and enforcement in
badge.
the crypto market for many years now. The crypto market has grown 15-fold in just the last 5 years. It's now at about $3 trillion, at least in 2024, where we've got
you know
the
it's going to be
data.
bad.
While growth in the market may unlock new opportunities for innovation, risks to investors, our financial system, and our national security have also increased at the same time. Consider some recent data. According to the FBI, Americans lost more than $9 billion to cryptocurrency fraud last year. And it's the trend lines that are particularly concerning.
I'm going to have one last go.
66% increase from the year before. According to Chainalysis, North Korean hackers stole a record $1.3 billion from crypto platforms in 2024 and then turned around and topped it in just a single heist with a $1.5 billion heist earlier this year. According to TRM Labs, quote, terrorist organizations demonstrated increased sophistication in their use of cryptocurrency, turning to unhosted wallets, mixers, and privacy coins like Monero. We need a crypto regulatory framework that reduces these risks, but I am concerned that what my Republican colleagues are aiming for is another industry handout that gives the crypto lobby exactly its wish list, the blessing of our government's approval, combined with crypto rules.
If you wish to call in, you need to be a member, and let me know in the chat you're calling in.
Actor must follow. The crypto industry may be calling the shots for Republicans, but nobody wants weak crypto rules more than the President of the United States. A majority of President Trump's wealth, as much as $7 billion worth, is now based in crypto, from issuing his own stable coin to issuing his own meme coin to owning a Bitcoin mining company and to controlling a huge portfolio of crypto investments. Again, according to Chainalysis, the president and his associates pocketed more than $320 million in fees alone from the Trump meme coin, while the majority of retail investors who bought that same token actually lost money. Now, if we're going to provide rules of the road for crypto, we need to shut down the super highway for presidential corruption at the same time. We need crypto legislation that will strengthen our financial system, not make it worse. Here are principles that I think should guide our work. First, new crypto rules shouldn't open a back door to destroy the securities laws that have served as the bedrock of our capital markets for nearly 100 years. I'm particularly worried here because some recent proposals, including the Clarity Act that the House is voting on this week or next week, include language that would allow non-crypto companies to tokenize their assets.
Don't worry.
In order to
She's the opening act.
SEC regulations.
The best
She's
comes
not going to
last.
be there the whole
Just a
time.
minute
She's going to go.
about what that means. Under the House bill, a publicly traded company like
She'll be gone soon.
Meta or Tesla could simply decide to put its stock on the blockchain and poof, it would escape all SEC regulation. That is a serious problem for our country. Second,
Except that's
crypto
not how it
investors
works.
should have the same protection from getting scammed or getting cheated as investors in any other asset. Doesn't have to be bigger, but it should be the same. For example, there is no reason that the rules prohibiting stock exchanges from simultaneously serving as brokers and giving preferential treatment to their own trades over their customers. We have rules against that elsewhere. Those same rules should apply to the crypto market too. Third, ensure that doesn't infect our traditional financial system. And that means making sure that taxpayers are not on the hook for backstopping risky crypto bets, and that crypto exchanges, crypto dealers, and other intermediaries face strong capital liquidity and risk management safeguards so they can meet their obligations to consumers and counterparties, even in times of market stress. Fourth, counter the threat of illicit finance with common sense rules to fight crime and protect our national security. Crypto service providers that act as financial institutions must be required to implement anti-money laundering programs. Republicans refuse to strengthen AML rules and close sanctions loopholes in the Genius Act, and their claim was that they would deal with this in the crypto market structure bill. Well, this is it. No more kicking the can down the road. Now is the time to solve that problem. And finally, if Congress is going to ratify a sweeping crypto regulatory regime, it is critical to shut down the president's crypto corruption. This means prohibiting public officials, including the President of the United States.
Unfortunately, they've lost video camera, but we've got the audio. They'll get it back.
From crypto tokens. I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues to get this done the right way. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Senator Warren. We'll now move to witness testimony. Today we have 6 witnesses before us. Our first witness is the Honorable Summer Mersinger, CEO of Blockchain Association. Ms. Messenger, you now have 5 minutes. Thank you.
And now she's leaving.
Thank you.
She's
Chairman.
off.
Chairman Scott, Ranking Member Warren,
That's
and members
tacky,
of the
isn't it?
committee.
Say all of that and don't hear
Thank you
it.
for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Summer Mersinger, and I'm the CEO of Blockchain Association. We're the leading collective voice of the digital asset industry in the United States, representing more than 130 of the most innovative job creators and stakeholders in the blockchain ecosystem. Our members, many of whom are startups and small businesses, are building the next generation of the internet and a new wave of finance here in the United States. From software developers and infrastructure providers to investment firms and trading platforms, we are proud to advocate for the responsible growth of this transformative technology. I'm here today to deliver a unified message from our industry. The United States urgently needs clear, comprehensive, and carefully designed rules for digital assets. Without thoughtfully crafted rules for the road, we risk stifling innovation, leaving American consumers without proper safeguards and protections, and ceding leadership in a sector that will define the future of global finance and technology. Regulating the industry with existing laws has created ambiguity, stifling American innovation, and driving entrepreneurs to jurisdictions with clearer legal frameworks. While jurisdictions like the EU, the UK, Japan, and Singapore are implementing bespoke digital asset frameworks, the United States is falling behind. It's not a matter of whether to regulate, it's how. We need bipartisan legislation that provides clarity, encourages responsible innovation, and reinforces America's role as a global leader in financial innovation. To guide that effort, Blockchain Association has put forward 12 principles that we believe should form the foundation of any durable market structure legislation. Let me highlight a few key themes of our principles, many of which are similar to and align with the Senate Banking Committee Crypto Market Structure Principles released recently by Chairman Scott, Senators Lummis, Tillis, and Hagerty. First, we need a functional and modern framework tailored to the realities of the blockchain ecosystem. This space includes not just traditional financial intermediaries, but also software developers, validators, and other participants who don't fit neatly into 20th century regulatory categories. Second, we must recognize that digital assets are not inherently securities. Much of the current confusion stems from attempting to apply the 1946 Howey test to this technology. Code is not a security. Third, there must be a clear, workable path for platforms to register and operate. Right now, no such path exists. Fourth, strong consumer protections are essential. Our industry fully supports consumer safeguards such as secure custody of customer funds, detailed disclosures, bans on market manipulation, and robust oversight. These are not regulatory burdens. They are the foundation of trust and resilience. Finally, we must view establishing a federal regulatory framework as a national priority. Digital assets and blockchain technology are revolutionizing financial services, supply chains, and digital identity. The country that leads on this policy will set global norms and unlock enormous economic and strategic benefits. The United States should be that leader. And this is our moment to lead. Blockchain Association and its members are not asking for a world without rules. We're asking for clear rules, rules that protect consumers, support innovation, and ensure that the next generation of the internet is built on American values. We urge this committee to seize this historic opportunity and pass meaningful bipartisan market structure legislation this year. We stand ready to be a resource in this endeavor. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Mersinger. We will now turn to Jonathan Levin, CEO of Chainalysis.
Chairman Scott, Ranking Member Warren, and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to be back here to testify. I'm Jonathan Levin, co-founder and CEO of Chainalysis, the blockchain data company. We maintain the largest database of blockchain intelligence, which powers prevention, investigation, and disruption of illicit activity on the blockchain. We serve over 1,500 clients worldwide, including the largest financial institutions, fintechs, and decentralized applications. We also support over 350 public sector agencies with tools, data, and services to fight illicit activity. Over the last 10 years of Chainalysis, we have partnered with law enforcement and industry to disrupt some of the largest threats to our national security and public safety. We have proudly helped the US government seize over $12.4 billion of criminal proceeds. These cases have included taking down the largest online drug marketplaces, seizing funds from Hezbollah and Hamas, dismantling the largest child abuse material websites, and tackling the latest pig butchering campaigns. The power of our technology, combined with the authorities of law enforcement and the industry partnership, have proven to be a more effective disruptor of illicit activity than anything seen before in traditional finance. Our mission at Chainalysis is to build trust in blockchains. All forms of value will be transferred using this technology. We are here to prevent abuse and pave the way for all people, businesses, and governments to leverage its potential. The United States can be the major beneficiary if we get the policy framework right and allow regulators to adapt and change with the pace of the technology. I have 3 policy insights that I want to share today with the committee. First, the blockchain introduces a fundamentally new model for financial oversight. We often hear the phrase in these rooms, same activity, same risk, same regulatory outcome. But the unprecedented visibility offered by the public blockchain has to be factored into the assessment of both activity and risk. With the right tools, the public ledger becomes a powerful resource for market participants, regulators, and law enforcement to protect financial integrity. The consideration of different types of activity and risks should first use all of the available information about how these mechanisms work and the relative transparency and residual risk that are associated with these mechanisms. In contrast to traditional financial systems, the ongoing monitoring, oversight, and supervision of the system must be built first on publicly available information. Second, we need to equip government agencies to fully leverage this new paradigm. Getting the right regulations in place will require building capacity of different agencies and industry bodies to tackle the different types of risks, particularly as it relates to illicit finance and payments. It requires the government to understand the operational risks involved in the deployment of smart contracts and decentralized infrastructure and the accompanying mitigations. It requires the government to leverage the transparency and available real-time information for effective supervision. And we need to be designing
We're now going to share all members' comments
so that
on the
all
screen.
institutions can engage with decentralized technologies. Government agencies with the right mandates and a focus on public-private partnerships will lead to the type of market infrastructure that all market participants are searching for. Third and finally, the blockchain actually enhances our ability to act quickly against illicit actors. As stated, following the money on the blockchain is actually easier than in traditional finance. But furthermore, issuers of tokenized assets can actually take actions to easily freeze and seize assets. I'll give you an example. In a recent pig butchering case, crypto exchange OKX and stablecoin issuer Tether froze and then seized $225 million of criminal proceeds in collaboration with US Secret Service. The traceability and programmability of these assets is a key benefit in addressing illicit activity. At Chainalysis, we are proud to support the US government in our ability to keep the digital asset ecosystem safe, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll hear from Mr. Dan Robinson, General Partner at Paradigm.
Chair Scott, Ranking Member Warren, Subcommittee Chair Lummis.
That's Sensei. Look at that.
Gallego,
That's what Sensei does all the time.
Members of the committee.
That's his best mate.
Thank you for inviting me to testify today on the importance of crypto market structure legislation and how to safely and equitably grow the crypto industry in America.
Totally agree, Silverbird.
My name is Dan Robinson, and I serve as a general partner at Paradigm, which is a research-driven investment firm focused on crypto. My research work has focused on helping portfolio companies solve technical problems related to market and mechanism design, particularly for applications in decentralized finance, or DeFi. I'm here to talk about the benefits DeFi can bring to the financial system, why its promise could be strengthened by a well-designed market structure bill, and why a bill that doesn't take it into account could be harmful to innovation. Crypto provides an alternative to our traditional world of finance. What stablecoins do for money and payments, DeFi does for trading, lending, and other functions of the financial system. DeFi can reduce costs and improve accessibility by removing unnecessary frictions in the back-end infrastructure of Wall Street. Decentralized finance is in its infancy, but it has already had a tremendous effect on one small corner.
All members'
of the
questions shared on screen.
Crypto itself. For many crypto natives, the natural place to trade is now on decentralized rather than centralized exchanges. Decentralized exchanges work very differently from centralized ones. One illustrative example is Uniswap, with over $1 billion in daily volume. The core of the Uniswap protocol is a set of smart contracts that allow any user to efficiently provide liquidity between any two assets. Anyone can use Uniswap to instantly trade with other users without ever giving up custody over their assets. These decentralized exchanges, much like stablecoins, run directly on blockchain rails. They are open, verifiable, and interoperable. This is a far cry from the opaque and fragmented back-end systems of today's Wall Street. With crypto, and especially with DeFi, we have a chance to radically upscale our markets to make them more efficient, more liquid, and more integrated across our economy. DeFi infrastructure could modernize the backbone of our financial system, reducing the fees paid by ordinary investors. Tokenized stocks could lower barriers to entry for investing in American companies. And prediction markets can be more broadly brought to bear across the economy, improving our ability to foresee unexpected outcomes and hedge risks accordingly. At the same time, markets do need rules. We at Paradigm believe it is important that crypto regulations be clear, fair, and equitable. We also think it has been an unforced error for the US to be one of the last major developed countries to enact legislation on crypto.
We need that 888, the magic number.
In the hopes of providing some
good luck number.
Everyone subscribe.
Yes, 888 is the number we need.
17 principles for market structure legislation. I wanted to flag 3 of the most important. First, crypto assets should be commodities. Crypto assets are designed to be used, to interact with smart contracts, and in some cases, to pay for on-chain operations, not merely for investment. A token classification rubric based on the Lummis-Gillibrand ancillary assets approach would be the best way to reflect this principle. Next, any decentralized crypto asset exchange should not be required to register with the CFTC, SEC, or any other regulator. At base, a true DeFi protocol is software. Just as we do not ask Microsoft to register Excel with the SEC just because companies use it to track their IPOs, we should not demand the engineers of DeFi protocols register their software just because others use it to trade. Finally, DeFi should be protected and supported across the globe. No government should be allowed to impose global restrictions on the trading of crypto assets through DeFi.
Yeah, that's the best
In this
number.
way,
The most luckiest number in the world.
By our forefathers to protect
Let's do it in
freedom
the
of
show.
seas in prior centuries, and more recently, freedom of the internet. Let me close by stressing the tremendous potential opportunity that lies before you on market structure legislation. Every day, we at Paradigm see new ways that crypto will support economic growth in free markets, from prediction markets and DeFi to tokenized stocks, and even the use of Bitcoin mining to support the electric power grid. We are now even seeing crypto markets emerge for the trading of credits in AI compute. By enacting market structure legislation that is supportive of crypto, supportive of entrepreneurs, supportive of investors, and supportive of consumers, you can blaze the trail to those new markets for all Americans. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Is it
Now we'll
Brad
turn
next?
to Mr. Garlinghouse. You are now recognized.
Make some
There we go.
noise! Make some
There we go.
Good morning,
noise!
Chair Scott, Ranking Member Warren, and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. My name is Brad Garlinghouse. I'm the CEO of Ripple. Ripple has approximately 900 employees across our 15 offices worldwide. We were founded more than a decade ago with a mission to enable the Internet of Value, a world where money moves like information does today. We build software products that power cross-border payments, stablecoins, and digital custody. Ripple helps financial institutions reduce friction, unlock efficiencies, and serve their customers better. These are not abstract concepts. We work every day with banks that rely on our technology to deliver real results in the global economy. Ripple leverages the XRP ledger, a decentralized, battle-tested, open-source blockchain, as well as its native digital asset, XRP, to facilitate payments. XRP is built to enable fast, low-cost, and highly scalable transactions. From the start, Ripple made the deliberate choice to work with policymakers and regulators, not around them. We have taken a compliance-first approach, operating with over 60 payment, service, crypto, and money transmitter licenses domestically and globally. With regard to the topic of this hearing, we believe smart legislation should be based on several core principles. Consumers need protection from fraud and scams. Markets need proper oversight. Bad actors need to be kept in check. And innovation must thrive. A constructive and workable framework for digital assets and stablecoins that achieves these goals will expand access to financial markets, create jobs, strengthen the economy, and put the U.S. on the path to being a global blockchain and crypto leader. For the last decade, the legal and regulatory uncertainty surrounding crypto has prohibited meaningful progress in the U.S. At Ripple, we certainly saw firsthand how the lack of clear rules of the road can be weaponized to target good actors. In turn, the technology, jobs, and tax dollars that go with it are pushed offshore, reducing regulatory oversight and putting consumers at higher risk. This has severely harmed American businesses, investors, and of most concerned, consumers. Ripple was the tip of the spear for this regulation by enforcement campaign and was subject to an enforcement action in 2020. We were the first leading U.S. company to be sued by the SEC. We and many others understood that a loss here would be a death knell for the industry. Fortunately, after 4 years of a hard-fought legal battle, we prevailed. The court ruled in our favor on everything that mattered, including finding that the token XRP is not, in and of itself, a security. Our victory cleared the path for other market participants to fight back. Despite these headwinds, Ripple still prioritizes education and engagement with policymakers and regulators globally. For companies to have the confidence to continue doing business in the United States, Congress should focus on passing principled and smart legislation with these critical goals in mind. First, set clear jurisdictional boundaries for our main financial regulators. Second, establish pathways for companies to build in the U.S. without sacrificing investor or consumer protections. And third, ensure that the U.S. can be a global leader in crypto by taking full advantage of the benefits and efficiencies brought by digital assets and blockchain technologies. The U.S. possesses the world's deepest capital markets, the most advanced technical talent, and a spirit of innovation that has powered our nation since its founding. There is no reason we should not be the undisputed leader in digital assets and blockchain. Over 55 million Americans participate in the crypto economy today, equating to over a $3.3 trillion market cap. A smart regulatory framework for crypto market structure is essential to realize that future and is overdue. Speaking on behalf of the crypto industry, I urge you to prioritize the passage of market structure legislation for digital assets through this committee.
683 to go. Magic number on the show.
To provide the rules and regulations needed to ensure that the U.S. becomes the crypto capital of the world. Once market structure legislation for digital assets becomes law in the United States, this will catalyze a new era of U.S. competitiveness and unlock efficiencies in financial transactions, dramatically helping consumers and businesses alike. Ripple hopes to see this become a reality, and we look forward to working with you to help make this happen. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. Up next is the Honorable Timothy Massad at the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University.
The most important part is going to be the
Good
questions.
morning, Chair Scott, Ranking Member Warren, members of the committee and
Indeed.
staff. Thank you for inviting me today. My name is Timothy Massad. I'm former chairman of the CFTC, former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury. The views I express are my own and don't represent the views of the Kennedy School of Government. You know, many of us are familiar with the movie Groundhog Day, in which Bill Murray is condemned to repeat the same day over and over, and he finally escapes the time loop not through external means, but by changing his outlook on life. And I suggest that we're in a similar time loop when it comes to achieving clarity in the regulation of digital assets, and we need to change our outlook. There have been repeated congressional hearings calling for clarity and a series of legislative proposals, each claiming to provide clarity, but there's never been a consensus. And whether it's Lummis-Gillibrand, FIT 21, or the Clarity Act, they all have similar flaws. They rewrite securities laws to create a new category of digital assets that their proponents claim will forever solve the problem. But none will achieve the clarity or the sensible regulation that we need, and each would undermine existing regulation. We need a different approach, and it requires recognizing a few facts. First, this is a technology. It's not an asset class. It will be used in many ways, including in tokenizing securities. Second, whether something in digital form is a security, a commodity, or neither, cannot be easily defined by a paragraph or two in a statute. It depends on what the token represents, whether there is an issuer, whether the transaction is one in which capital is being raised, and so forth. Third, the technology and use cases are evolving rapidly, so we should not lock in definitions that will prove obsolete soon. And fourth, a principal reason for the lack of clarity is our fragmented regulatory system. We have two market regulators, neither of whom has full jurisdiction over the spot market for digital assets that are not securities. The industry has taken advantage of this gap by arguing that most use cases are not securities and can therefore be issued and traded without regulation. That has led to a lack of investor protection. Now, the primary regulatory response to date, court cases that seek to interpret the Howey test, has also not been sufficient. It was a whack-a-mole strategy even when the particulars of a case made sense. But the solution is not for Congress to become the regulator. Instead, all these factors argue for creating a process by which the SEC and CFTC work together to provide the clarity and the necessary regulation. And legislation should provide them with the proper authority, principles, and flexibility to do so.
Thank you very much, helping us raise money for those children in Texas in the floods. Thank you.
Scheme is bound.
Here's the link, everybody.
Former SEC Chair Jay Clayton, who was appointed by President Trump, and I proposed this approach 2 years ago. We said Congress should mandate that the SEC and CFTC work together through a self-regulatory organization or otherwise to develop joint rules that would apply to every intermediary that trades or handles Bitcoin or ETH. Now, that was the jurisdictional hook. It establishes jurisdiction over the market without, as we said, debating classification of each token or Congress pursuing
Share the
tortured
XRP
rewriting
song,
of
folks.
existing definitions of securities.
Make it
and
go
commodities.
viral.
We also said that rewriting
Links in the
existing
chat.
law might fail to bring clarity and inadvertently undermine decades of regulation and jurisprudence as they apply to traditional securities and commodities markets. Our existing securities and commodities markets are the foundation of the U.S. economy and the envy of the world. Their strength and integrity rests on a regulatory framework that has been gradually and thoughtfully developed over almost 100 years. And therefore, a key principle for market structure legislation must be do no harm to that regulatory framework. The latest market structure proposal, like its predecessors, instead revises the securities laws in various ways that will create more confusion than clarity. For example, it creates a broad exemption for activities described as decentralized finance, which will lead to migration of regulated activity into an unregulated sphere. Decentralized activities may warrant different regulations to achieve our regulatory goals, but not a free pass. It provides an exemption from securities laws for raising funds to build a mature blockchain system, but you don't actually need to build it. You only need to have an intent to do so. The exemption isn't needed, and it will be misused. And finally, it will not even regulate all the crypto activity taking place on centralized platforms today. It will, however, provide many opportunities.
You're about out of time, sir, so.
For smart lawyers to engage in regulatory arbitrage. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you. And finally, we have Mr. Richard Painter from the University of Michigan, University of Minnesota School of Law.
Thank you very much, Chairman Scott, and I thank Ranking Member Warren for inviting me to testify today. I urge this committee and the House and the Senate to very carefully look at this bill and consider whether this bill will soundly regulate the cryptocurrency markets, the market structure. We cannot repeat the mistakes of the past. 100 years ago, there were hearings in the House and Senate to regulate the banking industry. And Congressman Louis McFadden of Pennsylvania introduced a bill that eventually became the McFadden Act of 1927. They thought they had the perfect solution to bring banking into the modern age and have the United States be the premier center for banking in the world. The regulatory structure that was framed in 1927, the McFadden Act, was informed largely by lobbyists from the bank industry, and it lasted 3 years. The banks collapsed in 1930. Congress had not regulated the banking industry, even though it said it did. Fast forward to the 1990s, when I was writing in the field of securities regulation, and securities-based swaps and derivatives were coming on the scene. And the argument was made that a securities-based swap is not a security. A stock can be a security, but not a securities-based swap that is based on that stock. And it took years to figure out how to regulate securities-based swaps agreements. Under the Clinton administration, under the Bush administration, we had years of lax regulation, deregulation of the banking sector, laws passed by this Congress.
I'm very proud of this, folks. We had the biggest audience in the world. A channel here with 141,000 subscribers
I implore you to
has
carefully
1,800
look through this
watching.
bill. Listen
We have
to the
over
industry
2,000.
experts who are here
Look at this.
today.
Really proud of
listen,
this.
To Chairman Massad about his experience as
141,000.
Consider carefully
1,800.
whether we should be drafting
2.3.
passing through Congress.
That's us. Thank
a
you,
very
guys.
detailed bill that locks a lot of definitions in stone,
Thanks, Sensei.
or rather take up Chairman Massad's recommendation.
Number one again.
that we have the SEC and the CFTC, the regulators, work together to respond to evolving market conditions. Consider whether it would make sense to define a stock as a security, but not the tokenization of that stock. Think through these issues. Please do not make the same mistake that this Congress has made so many times before. And last, I want to emphasize how important it is that conflicts of interest of members of the Congress and the President of the United States not influence the regulation of cryptocurrency or any other industry. Under 18 United States Code 208, it is a criminal offense for a United States government official to participate in a government matter that affects their own financial interest. A Treasury Secretary who is regulating cryptocurrency or issuing meme coins and investing in a crypto business would commit a felony. But Congress has exempted itself from that statute. Congress exempted the President of the United States from that statute and the Vice President. That is wrong. We cannot have
Brian D'Alessandro donated £1.99 to a super chat.
And
Well done, Martyn and
legislation,
Sensei.
implementing
Number one in the world.
have
Biggest crypto in the world.
conflicts of
And we're number
interest
one broadcasting
with their
it.
official
Love it.
responsibilities. That includes every member of the House and Senate. You should be divesting from crypto if you're going to be regulating crypto. And the President of the United States as well. The integrity of our financial system depends upon this. We've watched this movie before. Congress passes laws to regulate the financial sector, and it ends in a disaster because it was not regulated. Please do not repeat that mistake. We don't want to watch this movie again, and we do not want to watch a movie that is a combination of West Wing or the House of Cards and The Big Short. Please, do your jobs, represent us, the American people, protect our financial system so we never see again what happened in 2008, 1929, so many times before. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. We'll now turn to our round of questions. We'll offer each member of the committee a generous 5 minutes. If you like, I'll start the questions off. Ms. Mersinger, digital assets and blockchain technology could democratize finance, giving every American, no matter the background, access to financial services at lower costs with greater speed than ever before. To achieve this revolutionary potential, there is widespread agreement.
Spade
Industry leaders, to the
30615
President,
donated
and
$2
bipartisan
to a
members
super
of Congress
chat.
that we must provide clear rules that foster innovation and protect investors. And listening to you, and frankly, Mr. Levin as well, I think Mr. Levin said we need a fundamentally new model because we're talking about, frankly, a fundamentally new world. It's not new today, but it's new to those of us who are going to pass legislation. And you talked about the importance of the existing laws as we see them are inadequate and frankly not applicable to this new opportunity to be the crypto capital of the world. From your perspective, why is regulatory clarity so important, and what are the risks if we fail to provide certainty for innovators and everyday Americans?
Thank you for that question, Senator. Traditional bank regulations are not fit for purpose for digital assets and blockchain technology. Those regulations are meant for centralized intermediaries, and that's not what we're dealing with here. We need a regulatory structure that is fit for purpose. Otherwise, this patchwork of regulations and state laws and the industry trying to piece together.
We're going to go members only because we're getting silly comments in the chat.
Framework doesn't work.
Can't share it on the screen, just silly nonsense.
And continue to push innovators offshore. The most important thing we can do is create a framework that gives clarity. The status quo doesn't work. We need to be able to have responsible innovation here in the United States. We need a framework that provides customer protections. And we also need to make sure that whatever framework we put in place, that it ensures that U.S. American values are what this new framework, or what this new technology is based on.
Thank you very much. Mr. Levin, there's a common belief that money laundering is easy with crypto, but the truth is, it's not. Blockchain technology creates a permanent, traceable ledger that can help law enforcement catch those bad actors. I've said it before, so I'll say it again. It's far easier to track something that has a digital footprint than something that does not. However, some of my well-intentioned colleagues seem to think that crypto is tailor-made for money laundering, when in reality, it's a whole lot easier for criminals to hide their tracks with cash. What are the most common misconceptions regarding the role of digital assets in illicit finance? And What rules do digital asset market participants already comply with in this space? You talked about, I think it was a couple $100 million that had already been seized by working together. I think the more we illuminate how the industry is already working with law enforcement, the better we understand the digital footprint versus cash.
Thank you for the question, Senator. The way that we see this market is that the majority of activity inside cryptocurrencies and on blockchains is legitimate activity. There are trillions of dollars of payments that are made using stablecoins every year. A lot of that, the vast majority of that, is not illicit activity. The illicit activity that we estimate at Chainalysis is less than 1% of the overall activity that occurs on these blockchains, which is equivalent to what we see in traditional markets, and in fact, oftentimes less than what we see in traditional markets. And so criminals themselves and gangs and whoever else we're dealing with understand that it's not possible to launder vast sums of money in these networks and that the majority of the activity is legitimate. We do see, though, that when it comes to threats, for example, with fentanyl or pig butchering or terrorist financing, the industry comes together with law enforcement to collaborate on solving these cases. And we at Chainalysis have powered thousands of investigations that have spanned international geographies, cross-national boundaries, to be able to actually capture criminal proceeds in these investigations. The centralized services that have been helpful with this are subject to the AML and BSA obligations and have been from FinCEN guidance in 2013, and so have a very deep experience in actually helping law enforcement in these instances. And it's through that public-private collaboration that we can actually, solve the problems of illicit finance.
Thank you very much. Ms. Senator Cortez Masto.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for having this important hearing. Let me start with Mr. Massad. Talk a little bit about what should the goal of a market structure legislation be that we're looking at?
I think it needs to set up a process and some principles for achieving clarity and addressing this regulatory gap. The gap is that in our framework, we have no regulator of the spot market for anything that's not
Thailand Chip
security. So we need
donated
to fill
£20
that.
through a super chat.
And we
You
need
should
to
set
bring
up a
some
PayPal or
clarity
Wise
to this
account.
question of
YouTube
when is
take a
the use
massive
of digital
percentage of the
technology
price.
turn something into a security or a commodity.
That's
But
okay.
That's much more
It promotes the
complicated,
video
if you
when
will,
YouTube get a
than
little bit of a
simply
commission. It's
writing
good for
in,
the video,
a single
promotes this to more
definition.
people.
That's why I advocate a process.
Thank
That's
you.
why Jay Clayton and I advocated more of a process of bringing the SEC and the CFTC together. You don't necessarily have to merge them, but we need to have them work together on this.
Thank you. And Ms. Mersinger, would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree that we need a framework that's going to work for the industry. We need clear lines of jurisdiction here. And I totally agree with the SEC and the CFTC working together. In fact, they could do that right now, and they are doing that right now, working together to provide what clarity they can. But we still need legislation to oversee the spot market, and as Mr. Massad said.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask you this as well, and maybe Mr. Massad, let me start with you again. I have heard from my state's a security administrator and many of them across the country about the paramount importance of preserving states' powers in federal market structure legislation. Can you talk about why that is important?
Yes, I think it is important because the state securities authorities have always played a critical role in our system. And again, I think you're going to hear a lot of comments today suggesting this is this whole new world and so forth. It is a technology. And we got to remember what we have going on are still, most of this activity is going through centralized intermediaries. It's not just happening on chain. So I think we still need the resources of the states as well as the enforcement resources of the SEC and the CFTC to bring to bear.
Thank you. Mr. Levin, thank you. By the way, you did some great work with Caesar's Palace. I thank you for the work that you've done. I appreciate it. And for that reason, I understand we're all concerned about the scams and the fraud that could occur, that quite honestly always occurs with some sort of new technology or something happening at the federal level. Our goal here is to make sure we're protecting our consumers and giving the regulators and law enforcement the tools in the private sector to go after that and stop that. Can I ask you, what are the biggest obstacles to identifying and recovering ransom payments or stolen crypto funds?
Thank you for the question, Senator. The biggest barrier that we find when we're looking for money that is being stolen or has been extorted through ransom is that money can move to foreign jurisdictions where there can be non-compliant centralized entities that actually hold cryptocurrency on behalf of those illicit flows. And that's where it's really important for the United States to be able to work across different geographies to be able to prevent the laundering of that activity in foreign jurisdictions.
And
Matthias donated 59 Norwegian kroner through a super chat. Time for a KO trade, Uncle Martyn. Thoughtful face emoji.
I would say, Senator, that we are still in the infancy of state and local agencies actually having the capabilities to be able to go after these types of crime. There are instances in certain jurisdictions where the state and local enforcement agencies actually do have capabilities at their disposal, but we have found that actually there's a technology barrier to entry. And so us at Chainalysis, we've been pioneering a lot more new technology powered by AI to actually help state and local agencies get a hold of easier insights to these types of crimes so that they can go after this activity.
What is it in the market structure regulation that we're looking at that we need to be cognizant about to ensure that law enforcement, whether it's federal, state, or local, has the tools they need?
I think it starts, Senator, with the actual regulators to actually have the tools in place to monitor the publicly available information and proactively go after the types of threats that we need rather than overly relying on a reporting structure that we've had in traditional markets.
Everybody becomes a member. You'll get extra perks at the end of the show. Stand by to the end.
Thank you.
Anyone who becomes a member on the show, you'll get extra perks at the end.
I've listened with great interest.
You're going to love it.
And
here's the link.
Here's what I hear you saying. The four folks to my left, I hear you saying that digital assets are different. Digital assets hold great promise. Digital assets need special rules. I agree with that. The obvious question is, what should those rules be, and to what extent should we allow you to draft them? I've also heard some of you say that digital assets represent the next generation of the internet. Well, we let the current generation of the internet draft their own rules. And frankly, it looks like what we got as a result looks like somebody knocked over a urine sample. Congress can't even agree on basic legislation dealing with privacy on the internet. How the hell are we going to tackle this? But I hear what you're saying.
Internet works fine for me.
I hear Mr. Painter, as usual, if you follow him on social media.
Never thought of it as a bottle of urine.
Yeah, all politicians are crooks. Very helpful. I want to direct most of my questions to Professor Massad. Is that how you say your name?
Massad.
Mr. Massad.
Why are they always so old as well?
Oi, steady on. I'm nearly there, you cheeky
wrong.
sod. You'll be there too. Be careful.
We don't know. We in Congress.
That's Sensei's worst
and our
comment on the show
don't
today.
know
Definitely.
as much as the professionals in digital assets.
What do you think of that, Silverbird? Do you agree with that?
And I don't see how we can possibly catch up.
Saab, he's old as well. Look at that. Look. There's
Tell
all the
me
old boys.
more about your idea of having the SEC. Well, first, I don't want to run out of time here, but why is the digital assets industry so scared of being regulated by the SEC?
Well, I think we need to step back, Senator.
Briefly, please.
It's getting good now.
They don't want everything treated as a security because they don't want that entire framework to apply. But that's also because the SEC did fail to try to customize its rules to adapt for this technology, and it should do that. And you've got leadership at the agencies now who are working on those things.
You're
Sensei,
suggesting
this bloke's
that
old. Is he rubbish as well?
To two of
You
our
like him, don't
agencies, one of which is the SEC.
You don't like the other guy either?
And say,
Okay,
you
then.
have expertise.
Unbelievable.
Before we take a crack at a bill, you come up
like
with
your
a
dad?
bill, with rules, with regulations. Tell us how to do this. Because I hear you saying in some cases digital assets are commodities. In some cases, they're securities.
Congress needs to fill the gap, which is if it's not a security, who's going to create a regulatory framework for it? So you do need to fill that. But these questions about exactly which is when is it a security, when is it not a security, how do we customize the rules, what should we do about DeFi, a lot of that should really be left to the agencies. You could establish some principles, but I wouldn't write detailed rules.
Have you looked, Professor, at Congressman Hill's legislation?
I have in detail.
What do you think?
I think it's got a lot of problems. I think it's 236 pages of regulatory arbitrage opportunities for creative lawyers, and I used to be one that did that kind of stuff.
Made a lot of money, did you?
I did, but...
Mr. Painter, do you think Senator Gillibrand is a crook?
No, and I do not think all politicians are crooks. And
why did you call her a crook?
I did not call her a crook. Now, Senator,
oh,
you
now
need
I
to
like it.
focus
It's getting
on
good
this
now.
bill. You're doing this again. You did it the last hearing. You need to read the bill.
Role in stablecoin regulation, $217,000 in crypto donations. This won't end well. Why do you think the crypto industry is buying Senator Gillibrand?
I said, look at the campaign contributions from this industry.
Do you think they've bought her?
No, I said, look at the campaign contributions.
You said they bought her. Do you think they bought her?
Senator, you need to focus on this bill instead of trying to distort my Twitter.
Last time, one of my
you were
colleagues
quoting what a Marxist in Chicago said about
and what evidence do you have?
No sense.
I call lots of people stupid all the time.
There's massive amount of campaign contributions coming into this Congress from the crypto industry.
Do you want to apologize to Senator Gillibrand?
I do not want you to have to apologize for passing legislation
do you want to
that destroys
to
our
Senator
economy.
Gillibrand for calling
you are distorting what I said, just like you did in the last hearing. You're wasting
Anybody want a cup of tea?
Senator.
You're
got nothing to do with it.
Senator,
you are
wasting.
Well, I think we are
next level whack job.
Yeah,
I think we are.
Is this middle school, Senator?
Senators and
we're all talking rubbish now.
Thank you both.
I think you should apologize.
It's my kind of show.
Senator,
this is much better now. The entertainment value's gone way
Thank you
up.
for your participation.
XRP's great. Let's have a row. We're going to make money anyway.
That Senator Smith is next. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. So, not so long ago, I think you could safely describe most individual investors in digital asset markets as enthusiasts, but that has changed a lot over the last few years as digital assets have become more mainstream. And I think the topic of this conversation today, looking at what sort of a regulatory framework we need for digital assets, is very important.
Jimmy.
And it's important that we don't provide just a stamp of legitimacy over this sector, but we are actually providing the kind of consumer protections that people need. Investors should be protected from fraud, from misleading information, from self-dealing, and from conflicts of interest by those that purport to be representing them. They should be protected from unfair and rigged markets. And those protections are going to be good for investors, but they're also going to be good for the market. So, Mr. Massad, I want to get at some of the what this proposed market structure legislation
Anyone who becomes a member today,
and we have kind of as our
extra little surprises at the end.
The Clarity Act. So I'm going to
only
just try
$2.
to get
There's
at
a
some of the
membership link.
issues in the Clarity Act.
You're going to love it.
As I understand it, the Clarity Act would prevent any digital asset from being regulated if it is represented as a collectible, or as art, or as something that has inherent value or utility or significance beyond its mere existence as a digital asset. Do I have that right?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so that seems like a pretty big loophole to me, and I want to just dive into this a little bit. So if a cryptocurrency, for example, was launched by a social media influencer, could that, in your view, have some inherent value and therefore be exempted? What about, let's say, a meme coin that might get you invited to dinner with the president?
That's a good old phrase, that one, on your bike.
Value?
Yes.
Tesla is worth more than several of the world's largest automakers.
You've got to be over 50 to remember that one.
Crypto stock token, would that have inherent value?
Well, that certainly would. That would be also exempted as a security. So that should be still regulated as a security.
As a security, right, which is sort of the underlying challenge, as you pointed out a moment ago.
I've heard of the phrase.
So can you imagine a crypto asset that wouldn't have some inherent value?
Well, this is the problem. It's unclear exactly what would be categorized as digital commodities under this definition. A lot of people say it would be these native tokens like Bitcoin. I would think about it this way. Most trading today occurs through centralized intermediaries. It does not occur through these decentralized exchanges. Those centralized intermediaries list several hundred tokens. The question is, how many of those would be regulated by this? And I think it would only be a handful, and that's a real problem.
Well, exactly. Mike, this seems to me like a loophole that you could drive a truck through.
Yes.
And I don't think that that is an accident as this legislation has been developed. Let me touch on another issue. I think we've heard it today. Crypto industry and its promoters are sort of branding digital assets as something new, as innovative, as revolutionary, and therefore they need some sort of new or bespoke regulatory framework because the established rules for protecting investors and guaranteeing the freeness and fairness of markets don't apply. And I'm not arguing that there aren't some.
If you're having an audio
issue,
just refresh the YouTube. Just come in and out of the app. It happens after long streams.
An example of this.
Just come in and out. It'll work fine. It's not me.
Under the
it might be
Clarity
Sensei
Act,
though.
It would allow a crypto company to raise up to, I think it's $300 million from retail investors over 4 years, as long as they would be exempted from complying with SEC registration and disclosure rules, up to, even if they're raising up to $300 million from retail investors. Is that, do I have that right?
Yes, there's a new exemption for capital raising for building what's called a mature blockchain system.
That's right.
It does require some disclosure, but it's otherwise an exemption from
SEC
from registration.
So if a regular company was required would be required to disclose to the SEC how they're spending the money that they raise.
Yes, I mean the challenge, the problem with that exemption is you don't actually have to build the mature blockchain system. You just have to have the intent to do it.
You just have to have the intent to do it, but you could use that money for. I mean, what would stop you from using it to buy a house in, the Virgin Islands?
Well, conceivably there could be a lawsuit against you for misleading information. But if you had a reasonable,
like an after the fact.
Yeah, that's after the fact.
Right, exactly. Well, so this is. And I know I'm out of time here. I just want to close by saying this is my concern, is that it's not really a new regulatory regime at all. It actually is sort of continuing the status quo that has landed us in some pretty significant problems.
I think I think the problem with the act is it's undermining the existing regime. We do need to customize some rules.
Yes.
But this isn't a good way to do it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Moreno. Thank you, Chairman Scott, and thank you for doing this hearing. It's something Mr. Massad said, which I thought was fascinating, was that we've had times that we could have passed market structure regulation and Congress hasn't done it. There hasn't ever been a market structure regulation bill marked up by the Banking Committee. So I'm just not sure where that came from, that there was this idea that market structure regulation had been attempted before. It's never been attempted. But Mr. Massad, just for your sake, I just want to clarify a couple things that you said to make sure you meant to say what you said. Did you call Bitcoin a native token?
Like that comment,
it's often referred to as a native. In other words, Bitcoin and Ether are referred to as native tokens of their blockchain.
So you're saying Ether and Bitcoin are the same?
Well, I'm classifying both of them as what you call native tokens of the blockchain.
So you're saying that a native token is how you would describe Bitcoin. I just want to be clear of that.
It's a term that's used to describe when you have a blockchain and you have the token that allows you to use that blockchain, that's often called a native token, yes.
Got it. And therein lies exactly why we need to have this market structure regulation. Because the idea that we would turn over this industry to some bureaucrat working at some agency is insane. Because that would make it so that no American company would ever invest in a digital asset company in the United States of America when you had people who are just completely not lacking the fundamental technical base. This reminds me of the Facebook ad where the little old lady is sitting there taking pictures off a physical wall and the guy saying, yeah, none of this works this way. Bitcoin is a commodity. So there was a lot of talk about meme coins and NFTs. So let me ask you this follow-up question.
Chairman, Senator, if I may just
say, I get to ask the question.
I was the guy who declared Bitcoin a commodity.
This is the great part about being senator. I get to ask you the questions.
Okay.
So were you prohibited by law to cooperating with the SEC?
No.
Why didn't you?
I did.
So no, but you just said that what we should do is have the CFTC and the SEC work together.
Yes.
Why didn't you do that?
Well, when I was there, I did that, sir.
So
what I'm saying is Congress shouldn't try to be the regulator.
No, hold on a second. You're saying you solved all these problems when you were at the CFTC with the SEC.
No,
so
but
then
we
why do we
solved
need
the swap problems.
Okay, so you didn't solve all the problems. So you want us to have the SEC and the CFTC work together. But what you really want is you want Congress to abdicate its responsibilities to unelected bureaucrats,
not at all.
Yourself.
As with Jay Clayton, a Republican appointee, he agrees with me on this.
Are you a baseball fan? I assume you're a Red Sox fan up there at Harvard?
No,
right?
I live in Washington, sir.
Oh, geez, so Pete. All right, so is a baseball card a security?
No.
What's the difference between a baseball card and a meme coin?
Sir.
No, just what's the difference? How would you explain it to me technically?
They're both, you could classify them both as collectibles.
Is it the government's rule to prevent me from paying $5 million for a 1952 Mickey Mantle?
I think people should be allowed to invest in whatever they want to invest in, sir.
So then does that mean meme coins as well?
If they want to buy and sell meme coins, that's fine. But
So
we
you don't
should
think
have a
they should-
regulatory framework for certain financial instruments.
No.
We've
I'm
learned
talking
over
about-
the
I'm
years
talking about meme
that that's
coins.
useful.
I'm talking about meme coins. Do you think that the government, the SEC or the CFTC should regulate meme coins?
I think we should have an investor protection framework over this, over financial instruments.
I'm gonna
if
take
we
that as
want to
a-
decide
Are you
that
saying
they're
yes?
not financial
Are
instruments.
you saying yes? It's just simple because we only have 5. The chairman's very strict. Only lets us have 5 minutes.
I understand that, Senator.
So
but
you're
I
saying
think
yes
you'd-
or no?
I think
Simple.
you might appreciate that it's a more complicated issue than that. At least I would hope you do.
Should it's not complicated. Should the SEC or the CFTC regulate meme coins? It's
The
a
SEC
yes
has
or no.
already said it won't, and that's fine with me.
Okay.
But I'm happy to create a category that's neither a security or a commodity.
Should we include baseball cards in that as well?
No, I don't think we're
Why not?
talking about baseball cards here, sir.
What's the difference?
Because we're talking about a particular technology of tokenization and
because
blockchains. That's the focus of
here's
this
what I
matter.
want.
We're not talking about anything that people.
Here's what I want my colleagues to understand. How many business people work at the SEC and the CFTC? How many entrepreneurs? How many people who started companies work there?
I don't have that information, sir.
Let's say none. And then let me just finish this, Mr. Painter, with just something that you said, which was also equally staggeringly insane. You said that Congress should not own crypto, correct?
So members of Congress should not be investing in the crypto industry.
So you said that we shouldn't own crypto. Shouldn't own crypto.
You know,
that's not
it is
complicated.
very clear if you have your own meme coin. I don't know, Senator, whether you have your own meme coin.
Time out.
It said
you shouldn't own crypto.
I said you shouldn't be investing in the crypto industry if you have your own crypto trading platform.
So I shouldn't own baseball cards either. Because Congress regulates Congress regulates professional baseball.
No, I said.
Am I allowed to have money in a bank account?
You're allowed. You should be allowed to do what executive branch officials to do, and it would be a criminal offense for an executive branch official under laws passed by this Congress to regulate the crypto industry while holding an interest in a crypto firm. That is just a law, and Congress passed that law and imposed it on everyone else except for members of Congress.
You want to finish your thought on this?
Yeah, my point is, for some reason, I don't understand why. Maybe it's just a generational problem. It seems like the crypto industry, that people of a certain generation are just afraid of it. And that fear and lack of knowledge and having the humility to know that you just don't know the technological issues here has made this industry just reticent on understanding that there's a whole new world. And by the way, the 1946 securities laws should not be dictating what we're doing today. And I think I hope that my colleagues understand it. This is a generational issue. It's not a Democrat versus Republican issue. And if you took the time to just understand the technology, I think it would be easier for us to move forward.
Senator Warnock, you have 6 minutes.
I was going to ask you, Brother Chairman.
Brother Senator, I knew you were going to ask me the question.
We're trying to get to 8888. That's the luckiest number in finance. So everybody tap the like button.
As this
live on the show,
8888. As this committee begins work,
do it
on bipartisan legislation to provide certainty and clarity to the crypto market, it's critical that any bill we advance provides strong consumer protections. And this is why I'm incredibly concerned about the rise in so-called meme coins. In February, the SEC published a staff statement on meme coins, warning that they expose amateur investors to, quote, rug pull and pump and dump schemes. Mr. Massad, what do you think the effect of this staff memo will be on investors in meme coins, and do you think the SEC will bring civil actions or enforcement against any of these scammers?
Well, Senator, thank you for the question. I think the SEC has said that these are not securities, and I would agree with that. The issue then becomes if they're being listed on platforms such as centralized exchanges where people are trading Bitcoin, what should we do about that? People say we want to regulate those platforms insofar as they trade Bitcoin. We should either say they can't trade other things that aren't regulated,
young sensei has to go and take a break.
Subject to the same regulations. I think in terms of immediate effects, you know, you have these things being traded.
Let him have a little break. I'll be here. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere.
I don't
the old
expect
boy will carry on.
The SEC or anybody else to take actions about that unless it was really a very, very serious case of fraud.
He'll have holiday in a minute.
So, you know, these issues, I think it's important that we recognize that these aren't theoretical arguments. They impact real people in their actual lives. An analysis of coins issued on Pump.Fund, a popular meme coin generating site, indicated 60% of users on the platform lost money, with 1,700 wallets suffering losses that exceeded $100,000. What do you need, Mr. Massad, what do we need to see in a Senate bill to protect consumers from meme coin scams without sacrificing innovation in the market? I think we don't have to embrace the false choice between innovation and giving consumers reasonable protection. What
so
would
do
you
I,
like to
but
see
I can wait.
Well, what I'd like to see is consistency between
got a show to do
what
here.
We allow these centralized exchanges that are trading Bitcoin to trade and what's subject to the bill. In other words, if we're going to regulate those centralized exchanges, when we should do that, and they shouldn't be allowed to list things that aren't then subject to all those same regulations. And right now, the bill is very inconsistent in that respect because it excludes those meme coins from digital commodities, but it doesn't prohibit the listing of those meme coins on these very same exchanges.
So I look forward to working with my Republican colleagues as we think about
Sensei's been sacked.
These issues. This year alone, President Trump and his family have launched a meme coin,
the new Sensei,
a stable coin, and a governance token. The Trump family has also indicated that they may offer a crypto wallet as well as other crypto products. They're quite active in this space. Mr. Painter, how does President Trump's promotion of cryptocurrency, including his meme coin and his family's company, intersect with his official duties and his administration's policies?
If Donald Trump were the Treasury Secretary and regulating crypto and had those interests, he would be guilty of a felony under 18 United States Code 208, the statute I referenced before, which Congress has passed and imposed on every employee of the United States government except for the members of Congress, the president, and the vice president. And this is just unacceptable to have a president who is in charge of the regulatory apparatus for any industry including crypto, while he has such a vast interest in crypto, including a meme coin that I understand has lost somewhere around 70% of its value since Inauguration Day, I believe. I don't know who lost money on that, but I think I know who made money.
Yeah. Quickly, yes or no? So do you believe that the president having an outsized role in so many digital asset offerings will lead to fair and innovative markets? I think that.
No, it will lead to a lack of confidence in our regulatory system. Just as like this Congress, everyone's receiving campaign contributions from the crypto industry and voting on this bill. And then if a witness comes here and disagrees with you, you call him a whack job. I mean, this is embarrassing. What's going on in this town?
I agree that President Trump's crypto corruption distorts the digital asset marketplace. And writing a bill with a corruption caveat for the president sends a clear message that Congress is not serious about addressing corruption, which we know undermines investors' faith in capital markets. His corruption creates an unfair market that stifles innovation because his investors justifiably do not want to compete against the president of the United States. Ironically, for those who want to see us do something on market structure, it seems to me that that's not a fair market or a free market. Thank you very much for your testimony.
Oh, man.
You see, he said amen to the preacher.
Amen. I have so many comments for you, Senator.
Saab, you're lovely, mate, but you're fired.
Run over your time by 60 seconds.
Oops, that wasn't very dramatic. I pressed the wrong button.
Senator Haggard
Saab, you're lovely, mate, but you're fired.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
There you go.
I really appreciate the leadership that you've demonstrated in this important area.
Poor old Saab. You didn't even have to be there, did he?
Thank my colleagues here on the committee for your actions to support our recent Genius legislation.
Yes, sir.
That provides much needed regulatory certainty in the area of payment stablecoins that I think we desperately needed. And I've also been amazed and very pleased in the wake of that to see the energy and the enthusiasm behind market structure legislation. And I'm very pleased to see this esteemed group of folks here today that are ready to testify to help us with that. For too long, the lack of intelligible definitions, jurisdiction, and pathways to registration from our regulators have forced digital asset innovation beyond our borders. One of the saddest things that I heard as I came into the Senate talking to members of the industry with the brilliant people were taking up new jobs and new positions in countries other than our own because they felt they couldn't survive here. Why is that? Because in the void of regulatory framework, the SEC and others had stepped into that void and done one of the most pernicious things that we ever see here in Washington, the so-called enforcement by regulation, or regulation by enforcement, I'm sorry. That creates massive uncertainty. That has lent itself to destroying the possibility of America leading in this incredibly innovative sector. And I'm so pleased to see us moving back in a new direction. So, Mr. Robinson, I'd like to start with you, if I could. In your testimony, you discussed the importance of limiting developer liability so that developers can freely build applications here in the United States. And to be clear for my colleagues, without this sort of limitation, developers could be held legally liable for the actions of third parties with whom they have no relationship. So, Mr. Robinson, would you talk with us about how you perceive the Senate's role in establishing market structure regulation that would effectively address this policy issue?
Thank you, Senator Haggerty. This is an issue that's very important to me as a software developer myself, and I care about this a lot, and a lot of my fellow engineers in the industry have been very concerned about the potential for regulatory actions going after software developers just for publishing code. We think it is very important that the Senate include a protection shielding developers from liability, and in fact, the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act, which was adopted in the House as part of the Clarity Act, does address exactly that. And I would encourage the Senate to include similar language in the bill that they pass.
I appreciate that. Ms. Mersinger, I'd like to turn to you. And here I'd like to talk about the jurisdiction with the CFTC and the SEC, an area that you know a great deal about. And we're trying to delineate and establish the appropriate regulatory authorities between the two agencies, the CFTC and the SEC. And I'd just like for you to explain to my colleagues and for this audience today why it's so important that we ensure jurisdictional harmony between these organizations.
Thank you for that question. To your point about regulation to enforcement, when the only regulatory actions that are occurring are lawsuits and legal settlements. There's no clarity, and you have a situation where those who want
Can everyone
to
tap the like
follow
button?
law
We're just a
and do
handful
the
away
right
from
thing,
1,000. And join us
are worried
by subscribing.
to
Thank
innovate
you.
here in the United States, but they also are not sure where to go to follow the rules. And so we have to have clarity around what is the right regulator and who is overseeing these markets. And from my experience in the CFTC, one of the things I'll point out is the CFTC has broad anti-manipulation and anti-fraud enforcement authority over commodity spot markets, but they do not have regulatory jurisdiction over those same markets. So the CFTC could only come in after fraud or manipulation had occurred. There was no regulatory oversight. So providing that regulatory framework so that you have a regulator overseeing these activities will help prevent regulation through enforcement, because you will have the examiners, you will have the regulators looking at these businesses and ensuring that they're following the laws and the regulations, rather than having to come in after something bad has happened and bring enforcement cases.
Got it. Thank you. Mr. Garlinghouse, I'm going to turn to you with a related question. We're trying to calibrate an appropriate regulatory framework.
Make some noise. Welcome to the stage.
Arena. One of the concerns I have is, rather than engaging with technologists, with people in the industry who are actually at the cutting edge of innovation, lawmakers, regulators could actually try to force the digital assets markets into outdated regulatory frameworks. I think that would stifle innovation. That would put us at a great disadvantage. And as we think about it, there are certain factors that are unique to the digital assets ecosystem. And what factors would you emphasize that we focus on as we think about an appropriate regulatory framework moving forward?
Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Garlinghouse.
Thank you, Senator. I think there are unique aspects that need to be thoughtful and applied potentially uniquely to any legislation around this. That said, I do think that where Mr. Massad and I disagree is that depending upon an SEC and CFTC to work together assumes good faith appointed officials in doing that. What we have seen previously is the SEC actually sowed confusion in the marketplace. They took contradictory positions. Under Chairman Gensler, they took actually contradictory positions in different court cases, which actually created more confusion. Yep. And so you had federal judges saying things like the SEC was being arbitrary and capricious in their application of the law. You had federal judges saying that they were not following a, quote, faithful allegiance to the law. And so my concern in depending upon a unelected appointee to make those decisions is that it assumes a good faith actor. And I think what we saw in this most recent SEC was just a war against the industry at large without a consistent application of that law.
Well, I think we need to put in place a sufficient framework so that we don't have to rely on the goodwill of a particular regulator, but that it's clear to them our intention. So thank you all. Appreciate the entire panel being here today. And thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Haggerty. On behalf of the chairman, I now recognize myself. We need to make sure that any new legislation to regulate crypto market doesn't do more harm than good. And there are a couple of areas where I think we need to be very careful not to make things worse. First, we cannot pass any legislation that eats away at the SEC's current jurisdiction to regulate traditional securities. Now, Mr. Massad, you were chair of the CFTC and you were Assistant Secretary for Treasury for Financial Stability. Could market structure legislation make it possible
Silverbird, just so we all know, with his chicken,
a non-crypto product so that it dodges our security laws? Use something like Tesla stock as an example.
Yes, it certainly could. If you, for example, provide an exemption for activity on decentralized trading protocols, and that's a very broad exemption, then you could tokenize Tesla stock and have it traded on that protocol, and it could be exempt then from 34 Act trading requirements at least.
So in effect, we start to repeal the SEC, as we've had it for traditional.
It could
stock.
certainly undermine their authority substantially.
It's critical that any crypto regulation bill we pass does not have massive unintended consequences. And I think those are unintended consequences for everyone, but consequences that would reach far beyond the crypto market and take a tire iron to the $120 trillion golden egg that is America's capital markets. So I think it's an important note we have to do in regulation here. There's another problem that we've got to face, and that's corruption. President Trump has made it impossible to have a conversation about crypto legislation that does not address his most successful grift. According to a recent New York Times analysis of the president's financial disclosure, crypto is now the biggest source of President Trump's wealth. In the past 7 months, he has become the most successful president in history at making money off his time in the Oval Office, and he's done it using crypto. Now, Mr. Painter, if Congress passes a bill creating a new federal regulatory framework for the crypto market, what will happen to the crypto market?
Some unpleasant comments coming from one of 7 billion. I've just timed you out.
Substantially.
Okay, and what will that do to the value of President Trump's meme coin?
It will make him very rich, even richer than he already is.
And what about the value of his stable coin and his son's Bitcoin mining operation and his family's crypto holdings?
The same. The Trump family will become very, very wealthy as the prices go up and the bubble rises.
So if we create a new federal regulatory framework for the crypto market, the president and his family stand to make a whole lot more money. So, Mr. Painter, if the president and his family own billions of dollars in crypto, if Congress passes a crypto bill, who will claim the power to appoint and the power to fire the regulators that will implement whatever new rules are put in place governing crypto holdings?
The President of the United States, and he is now also claiming the power to fire the members of independent commissions, and that will include the Commodities Futures Trading Commission and the SEC.
Okay, so you were President Bush's chief ethics counsel. Can you think of another time in American history when a president of the United States held such power over regulators, the very regulators who would determine the value of the president's own net worth?
Never. We have never had, since the Civil War, a president of the United States with substantial financial holdings that are conflicted with any official duties. This is unheard of. And now it's not just real estate, but Donald Trump recently is into crypto, even though he said that it was a scam just a few years ago. He's now into crypto and into social media industries he did not have in his first administration.
Well, we need clear and strong rules for the crypto market, but the proposals I've seen so far undercut the investor protections in our traditional capital markets. They harm our national security, and they supercharge the value of President Trump's crypto grift. We need crypto regulations that actually regulate the industry. We don't need another giveaway to a handful of billionaire insiders. And with that, I conclude and not only call on Senator Britt, but hand the gavel to you.
Thank you very much, Ranking Member. I appreciate the chairman for holding this hearing today and being serious about creating a framework for digital assets in the United States, and certainly appreciate all of you and your willingness to be here with us and testify on this important topic. Obviously, it's a very complicated issue, a lot of moving parts. We've seen some fireworks.
Anyone who becomes
today.
a member today, I'll
One of
give
the
you a
primary
special
points
treat
is
at
just
the
around
end.
Definitions. How do we properly define digital commodity versus digital security, and what does that actually mean for the role of our regulators? We know digital asset securities can share many characteristics with traditional securities, but they're not inherently the same, and regulation needs to reflect that. Much like applying, traditional regulatory framework to a new decentralized finance system, it just doesn't work. I'm concerned about the compliance burdens for developers and for startups and how we actually strike the right balance between the two. I've seen firsthand what happens to our small businesses and our small financial institutions when you have overregulation, and it becomes unsustainable. So my first question is actually for Ms. Mersinger. We are dealing with a rapidly evolving industry here, and we can't predict every change, right? So how do we create a framework that puts up the proper guardrails and the clarity that we actually need today without locking in rules that quickly become outdated? I'd love your thoughts on that and kind of your thoughts on how we approach that.
Thank you for that question. And I will say, as a former commissioner at CFTC, I believe this is a reason why there is so much interest in having the CFTC as a regulator over the digital spot market. It's because they have a principles-based regulatory regime, which provides that flexibility. So as technology changes, those companies, those startups, those small businesses can still operate and fulfill their regulatory duties, but not be subject to a prescriptive regulatory framework that locks into place the technology and the systems or the processes they're using when it's put in place. So I think the most important thing you can do is have principles-based regulatory regime and prevent having prescriptive regulations around this industry.
Are there kind of permanent and durable mechanisms that would actually encourage innovation? I guess my question, has the regulatory sandbox been beneficial in this regard, and kind of sort of how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been talk about sandboxes being a helpful tool.
Okay.
I like sandboxes.
Both the SEC and the CFTC have exemptive authority that they can
Generation
use.
thing. Playing in the
There's
sand.
ability to use staff no
Sensei
action.
wouldn't have a clue.
Letters and relief. So there are.
Would you recommend that?
I bet he's never even seen the
There are a lot of tools
beach.
in place that they can use to still oversee and regulate the space, but not stifle the innovation that is occurring and developing.
I'm going to shift gears real quick in my remaining time. Mr. Levin, I've heard the narrative that digital asset transactions are completely anonymous and beyond the reach of law enforcement. I disagree with this, as with any financial instrument or new technology.
Christopher McCarroll
there's
has
always
become
going
a
to be
member.
bad actors, and we should, of course, where any loophole exists, we should find it and close it, and not enable illicit activity. But from my understanding, blockchain technology actually
Special treat
can
for anyone
offer
who becomes a
an
member
enhanced
during
level
today's
of
show.
security, perhaps
You're gonna
even
love it.
more resistant to manipulation. And transactions on the blockchain offer a unique ability for tracing and tracking, including analyzing trends on the ledger. So, Mr. Levin, can you speak to this, both to the narrative that digital assets are untraceable and to what type of tools are available to identify and to actually combat bad actors?
Thank you, Senator, for the question. This is exactly the business that we at Chainalysis have been building for the last 10 years. We build tools.
Apologise for the audio, it's coming from their end, the
Law
crackling.
enforcement, regulators, businesses.
I will look for a
to actually
solution.
track and trace cryptocurrency with the relevant context about where to get additional information if there is some sort of investigation or some sort of disruption action that needs to happen. I would say that there are two levels of tooling that is worthwhile the committee understanding, which is, one is there are actual forensic tools that are being used in investigations where you are looking at very specific transactions of interest that have been flagged either through regulatory reporting or investigations. And then also the blockchain actually allows for a much more macro view of trends and threats that are persisting against society. And so you could actually investigate ransomware as a whole threat to the United States of America and look at the entire supply chain that causes ransomware to have impact on our communities. And
107 billion. I
where
didn't
there
like
is
the
an
comment you made
opportunity for
towards
actual
Sensei,
disruption of
and
that
we take
supply
care of
chain
our family
for the
here.
threat.
It wasn't very pleasant.
Thank you so much.
I
And
think
I
you
am out
upset
of time,
Saab
but
by
would
it
love
as
to
well.
continue this conversation with you. In particular, how we empower our state and local law enforcement with
Very
the tools
unnecessary.
they need, so that they're better equipped in this regard. So thank you so much. And with that, I will recognize Senator Van Hollen.
Thank you, Senator Britt, and thank all of you for your testimony here today. Mr. Massad, it's great to see you again.
See you, Senator.
This time in front of the full committee. And And Senator Britt's question is a good place to pick up because in Baltimore City, a number of years ago, you may remember, we experienced a ransomware attack. It was one of the earlier ones that became well known, and the attackers wanted to be paid in crypto. And what we've seen with respect to ransomware attacks is that they do, for the most part, use crypto as their currency of choice, and we've also seen that with respect to entities that engage in sanctions evasion. So I think there's a need to be very clear that decentralized finance is fully covered by our anti-money laundering and know your customer regulatory regimes. As we heard, there has been improvement in blockchain technology, and blockchain technology does have some of these important features that could make it easier to track transactions. But the fact also is that about $2 billion was lost in crypto security incidents in the first quarter of 2025 alone, nearly the entirety of what was lost in all of 2024. We have crypto mixers, cross-chain bridges, and other methods to obscure the movement
one of 7 billion
currency. So
different people here have different ideas of what certain words mean. Thank you very much for your apology. Let's move on. Thank you.
Crypto is subject to BSA and other regulations. We need effective supervision and enforcement. Can you talk briefly about what challenges you see today to getting from where we are to that kind of enforcement that would be necessary to oversee them on parity with the current laws?
Certainly, Senator. First of all, I would suggest we think about what takes place on-chain and what takes place off-chain. Mr. Levin, I have great respect for the work of Chainalysis. They're focusing on activity on-chain, and they do a good job, but we have to remember they're only able to identify illicit actors where there's a known identifiable address, and there could be a lot of other activity happening. So I think we need better monitoring by issuers of digital assets, such as stablecoin issuers, need to be monitoring the chain, need to be applying risk analysis techniques and so forth. With respect to off-chain activity, though, that's where a lot of illicit activity takes place. It takes place through centralized intermediaries. And what Chainalysis doesn't really reach
Sensei goes as a
and
break
that's why
for a
we
drink.
need an entire regulatory framework
I ring the bell.
around these
My wife
entities.
brings me a cup of
We
tea.
need to prevent wash trading. We need to make them
See the
make sure they're
difference?
doing a good job on beneficial ownership. And finally, I think we need to give the Treasury Department more tools to enforce sanctions, to enforce money laundering. And there were a number of proposals made about 2 years ago that would enhance its authorities because digital assets are bearer instruments and they can be transferred, on blockchains. And so I think the Treasury Department needs greater authority to impose sanctions and other measures on offshore entities that might be harboring this activity. And there's a variety of other things I'd be happy to discuss with you.
I appreciate that. I want to turn to you, Mr. Painter, and you indicate in your testimony and your writings that the avoidance of even the appearance of a conflict of interest, the appearance of corruption is critical to ensuring public integrity of the crypto markets. And I agree with that statement. Would you agree that when Eric Trump visited the UAE shortly in advance of President Trump's visit there and helped broker a transaction where the UAE state-owned firm MGX executed a $2 billion transaction in the Trump family stablecoin, that creates the appearance, at least, of a conflict?
That's why I said sorry.
It's
I'm only joking, Leah.
And, it may be a lot more than the appearance of conflict of interest.
I'm not ringing a bell.
The president, of course, followed up a visit of his own there and made a deal with a separate UAE state-owned company that allowed the transfer of very sensitive U.S. chips and AI technology to that other company called G42. It turns out that the chair of G42, the company that received the sort of crown jewels of US AI technology, and the chair of the company MGX that Eric Trump did the deal with, is the same person. Would you agree that that also creates the stench of corruption.
It certainly does.
I think it's pretty straightforward as well for anybody looking at the facts. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Blunt Rochester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses. I really welcome this hearing and the opportunity for serious, sustained engagement in digital asset market structure. This is enormously complex and could fundamentally reshape the bones of our economy. We've already seen what happens when digital finance grows without guardrails. The collapse of FTX, Terra Luna, and Celsius wiped out billions in consumer savings and exposed glaring regulatory gaps. When regulation lags innovation, real people get hurt. At a time of rising prices and growing wealth inequality, I'm sure that we can all agree that the last thing we need is to rush or have a poorly designed market structure bill. And at the same time, I strongly believe in innovation. That's why I joined Senators Moreno and he to introduce the bipartisan Deploying American Blockchains Act. And I support a bipartisan, thoughtful, transparent, and inclusive process, especially for legislation that could shape the future of U.S. capital markets. My first question is for you, Mr. Painter. What are the risks if Congress moves forward too quickly in legislating without broad input and clear understanding of market consequences? And how do we ensure that this process produces a bipartisan framework that can stand the test of time?
The risk is that we repeat the experience of regulating the banks in the 1920s and the depression that followed, 10 years of depression. The risk is that we repeat what happened in 2008 when campaign contributions poured into Congress from the securities-based swap industry, elsewhere in the financial services industry, and we had decades of deregulation. The economy collapsed. Millions of American families losing their homes, people unemployed. We've been through this again and again. And this Congress needs to get it right this time and carefully read this bill and listen to witnesses, including the witnesses who might not disagree. And instead of the personal attacks that I've experienced today, some dignity from this Senate, care in drafting this bill and thinking about the American people you represent. We do not want another economic collapse caused by deregulation of the financial services sector. And I want to ask you all, do you understand the bill? Have you listened to all sides? And are you willing to allow the regulators to use their expertise to watch what's going on in this sector?
I know there's a slight audio issue, so I'm just going to refresh it.
Please.
It's not that, but I am going to try. Just bear with me a second.
While that's happening, everyone make sure to go get your mug. There's only 10 available. I'm going to put the link out there. 25% discount once you get the mug and the t-shirt. Link in comments.
Nice one, Sensei.
Because it will touch all of us. Mr. Massad, some proposals would let
you took an opportunity there, didn't he?
Decide for themselves which rules apply and which regulator they'd answer to. And that sounds a lot like the businesses picking their own cop on the beat, so to speak. How should Congress design a system that applies the rules fairly and earns the public's trust?
Well, I think Congress should think in terms of principles, not trying to write detailed rules, because I think those can quickly become obsolete. I think number two, Congress does need to fill the gap in regulation that we've talked about with respect to the use of this technology for things that aren't securities. But, to your point about the problems here, I mean, the problem with a lot of the proposals is that they try to write detailed rules that I don't think are going to provide the clarity, and I think will provide a lot of opportunities for simply evasion of their intent. I respect the goals. The goal is clarity. We all want that. But I think you've got to be very careful about how you achieve that.
Some people talk about regulatory standards for centralized systems, that they're inappropriate for crypto because it's inherently decentralized. But many of these protocols are run by centralized teams that control governance, the incentives, and even the code. So how should Congress decide when a so-called decentralized protocol acts more like a centralized financial intermediary and regulated as such?
I think the principle Congress should have is just because it's decentralized doesn't mean it's free of regulation. Regulation may be different, but for example, if we had a decentralized protocol that became the primary market for trading Treasury securities, we would not say, oh, because it's a decentralized protocol, we don't need to worry about regulation. So I think we may need different rules, but we still need rules.
We're going to open up the chat now to our subscribers.
Thank you, Senator Kim.
Yeah, thank
for the
you,
next
Chairman.
5 minutes to leave
Mr.
your
Levin,
comments
I'd like
on the
to
screen.
start with you. I had gone through the Chainalysis 2025 crypto crime report. First of all, thank you for that type of detail. But I wanted to ask you if you could elaborate on the role of mixers, other types of smart contracts, other types of anonymization tools in terms of facilitating illicit finance, illicit trading.
Thank you, Senator, and appreciate you taking the time to read the report. We at Chainalysis track the different types of anonymizing techniques used by illicit actors to thwart law enforcement actually being able to get after them. And actually, we have seen that mixers are used by illicit actors to cover their tracks in terms of laundering proceeds of crime. But there is also another side of this, which is it's possible to continue to trace through certain types of mixers in certain instances, and we've seen law enforcement be successful in those regards. I would say that it is important, as the committee thinks about regulating this space, to look at what are the residual risks that are there, given all of the tools in the disposal of law enforcement and all of the authorities that intelligence and law enforcement has in this domain.
I just want to make sure that I'm building this out right. So, for instance, you talked about in your hearing, in your testimony, that public ledgers underpin most digital asset
Anyone who becomes a
activity,
member
allows
during the
for
live show,
visibility,
surprise
so
at the end, you're going to love it.
Am I right that
We're trying to get to
88888
subscribers. It's the luckiest number in the financial world.
Senator, it is correct that the majority of activity on these ledgers is transparent, and you can see which entities are involved. And Chainalysis provides the unique intelligence about whether it is a mixer that is transacting or whether that is a centralized exchange. And so it is possible to identify that activity. It is also possible in certain instances to actually be able to trace through those mixers and continue the hunt for a law enforcement agent.
I understand that in terms of the analysis to be able to track, but it does do a lot of that after the fact, after the transactions have already occurred, which makes it very difficult to be able to try to actually intervene, to be able to prevent these transactions from occurring. But I don't discount the fact that it's certainly helpful, especially when it comes to writing SAR reports or other things afterwards. Who are some of the actors that we're talking about here? I mean, we're talking about countries like North Korea and Iran, is that right?
Yes, Senator, really any illicit actor that is using cryptocurrency can use any type of service. And we've seen DPRK and we've seen Iran use mixers.
We also see different terrorist groups, is that correct?
In general, we have seen that terrorist organizations actually use very convenient technologies to be able to fundraise or pay people. And so we have seen less use of mixers in the context of terrorist financing. Actually,
I think Sally's about 2 hours behind the stream.
Still utilizing crypto in different ways.
She'll catch up in about 2 hours.
Cartels and other organizations like that. Is that right?
Senator, the illicit actors globally use the same technologies, the same services that all of us who use cryptocurrencies use, which is any type of instrument in cryptocurrencies.
Mr. Garlinghouse, I'd like to just kind of turn to you. I mean, I just wanted to just get your thoughts on this. I mean, do you acknowledge what Mr. Levin's saying in terms of the illicit actors, the bad actors being able to utilize crypto right now? And, I certainly appreciate the efforts that your company has made in terms of AML, but, we're still seeing these problems. Is that something that you see and recognize as well?
Ripple has always been a compliance-first company, and as I said in my early testimony, we have over 60 licenses around the world. That being said, I think anytime you see bad actors, they're looking for, as Mr. Levin said, whatever the easiest path is. They use cash, They use other assets. I've even read about them using gold.
Yeah.
So certainly they're also experimenting and trying to use digital assets. I think the good news has been in many cases, they don't often understand how traceable and trackable that actually is. And it's more trackable than obviously cash.
Yeah, but we're still seeing the anonymization tools being utilized. And again, a lot of that is after the fact. The difficulty, I mean, we saw North Korea right in front of the world be able to hack and take billions of dollars. We can see them moving around, but we had difficulty to be able to actually intervene. I don't discount the fact that we're never going to be able to stop it all. We can't stop it with cash. I think the problem that I see is that I used to work on counter-terrorist financing, and the sheer scale of this is enormous.
If you want the studio to turn green, spam the chat with green, the word green.
So I just hope that we can work together with industry, because I believe that industry doesn't want to have crypto be able to utilized in this way. I worry about the trajectory, what it might do to evade sanctions and other types of efforts. And this is something that I hope that we can address, especially when we're talking about over $50 billion just last year being used for illicit actors in this space. So I hope that this is something we can build off from. We had some efforts in this in a bipartisan way in the Genius Act, and I hope that we can make this a priority to make sure that we're trying to stop the terrorist groups, the cartels that we have talked about standing up against in so many different ways. And with that, I'll yield back.
Senator Lummis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this hearing and for indulging us in finally addressing the topic of digital assets. When I arrived here 4.5 years ago.
You guys are rubbish at spamming. I'll show you how to do it.
Very little knowledge.
I'm the only one who knows how to do it
assets.
properly.
And
Sensei can't do it
to the
either.
extent that there
He's
was,
rubbish.
There was fear because
That is
it
how you
something
spam
about
a
which
channel.
People knew very little, and in some cases still know very little. Yet the industry has innovated and grown and become a force in our economy, and in fact, in the global economy. We now see one digital asset company not only make an appearance on the S&P 500 in about the 135th position. That's how big this company is. We see several companies going public this year.
He's tired,
that are based
he's thirsty,
in the
and now he's
digital
hot.
asset industry. Yet we've seen foreign countries get ahead of the United States.
He'll get a sore bum in a minute and
terms of
can't sit down for much
establishing
longer.
A clear regulatory framework for digital assets. We have allowed regulatory agencies
But he's very good at the charts.
that are unfriendly toward this asset to use regulatory functions such as enforcement actions to bring about a regulatory morass for these industries when they've been unable to find out what regulatory framework they're supposed to follow, not having received clear guidance from the regulatory agencies to which they're subject and hope to comply. So we finally have an industry coming and requesting regulation so we know the rules of the road, so we can integrate this tremendous new technology into our economy. And so the time has come, and Mr. Chairman, I'm so pleased that you recognize the relevance, importance of the United States leading in this space. I also want to thank Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who joined me shortly after I arrived here in drafting legislation that has been out for 4 years, that people could look at, that people could comment on, that we could reform and change as the industry grew, and their ability to shape the regulatory framework that protects consumers, but that also works for the innovators. And that is the point at which we've arrived today. We are ready to take that step. So I want to thank my colleagues on the other side of the aisle for their diligence in working with our side of the aisle to bring legislation about, starting with the Genius Act that dealt with the stablecoin component of digital assets and now moving into the commodities and securities portion of a market framework. I believe we're taking the right step and not a moment too soon. You know, government's always been afraid of innovation, and the innovators in our country have had to cross barriers in order to achieve what humans are capable of and have to fight government to surpass. You look at the internet, the cypherpunks of the 80s and 90s were creating code and using cryptography, and the government was afraid of it, so the NSA called it a weapon, cryptography a weapon, and classified it as something that should not be available to the general public. But our courts in this country decided that cryptography and code writing is protected free speech under the First Amendment. And that was a game changer. It made it possible for those very brilliant minds to make available to each other through open source the cryptography and code writing that made it possible in 2009 for the first digital assets to appear on the scene. So now we're at the point where from 2009 and where we are today, we have a mature industry that is asking us to provide clear rules of the road. And as people responsible for the government and as members of the banking committee, we're in the right place at the right time to help these innovators take their rightful place in the global economy as an asset that is important to our country, that is important to individual freedom, that is important to the unbanked and underbanked, and that will make available to people the opportunity to grow assets that are capable of increasing in value, as opposed to our own U.S. dollar, which is by design decreasing in value. Mr. Chairman, your leadership in this effort is deeply appreciated by me, and I look forward to
special benefits for anyone who becomes a member at the end during this show. Stand by to the end. You're going to love it.
Bring this legislation through the Senate to the House and to the President's desk. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Thank you for your leadership on such an important topic. And I will say, let me just get through some of my necessary comments, and then I'll close with a couple comments about Senator Lummis and Gillibrand and others. For senators who wish to submit questions for the hearing record, those questions are due 1 week from today, Wednesday, July 16th. To our witnesses, you will have 45 days from that day to submit your responses to questions for the record. Thank you for your attendance to the panel today. Closing, I'd like to thank you for your time. I thought your testimony today was some of the best testimonies I've heard in my 10 years on the committee. They were
Stay
clear,
where you
they
are.
were
Lots of stuff
consistent,
coming up
they were
right now.
Forward-looking, mostly, not all, mostly forward-looking. I truly appreciate that approach to it. I will say that Senator Lummis and Senator Gillibrand have worked on this topic for a number of years and are, frankly, thought leaders on both sides of the aisle. I think they're very important thought leaders. I hope we all remember and remember very clearly that our words are containers of power. We can weaponize them against Senator Gillibrand or President Trump if we want to. I think it marginalizes what you have to say. I think it reduces your actual contribution to this hearing. And I think it trivializes such a really important issue. And I think we should keep our focus on the main thing. And the main thing is safeguarding investors, protecting the marketplace, and protecting our nation's security. And that should be our objective. And that's what I heard mostly here today. And I hope that as we move forward on market structure, this is just a first step, guiding principles. We have not put forth legislation yet, but as we do so, we will do so not as red or blue, but those committed to red, white, and blue. And that is our objective, and we will achieve that objective. Thank you all for being here. Meeting adjourned.
Right. There we go. Let me just end that a moment. Thank you very much. Now we're going to get into the meat and the bones of it. We're going to get into the meat and the bones. So I did promise lots of things during that call. So I'm going to do that now. Let me go over to our normal screen with Sensei. Let me drop Sensei in here just a moment. Sensei's got some charts, information, and I got lots of stuff to share with everybody. So let me just do that. Let me just change the screen. So before I get reaction from Sensei, let's have a quick look. As you can see, the asset is going up. XRP is going up. The show is over, so I'm going to take my hat off because I'm bloody hot and uncomfortable. But I lived through it. That's the difference, you see, between the old boys and the young guard, isn't it? Right? I'm a bit hot. I'm going to have a break. Right? Okay, let's get to it.
Alexander Catton has become a member.
Thank you very much. Everybody who becomes a member during the show today is in for a treat, and we've got a lot to share with you right now. Sensei's with us. Sensei's got charts, numbers, data, facts. You name it, he's got it. So, first of all, what we want to do is invite the rest of you to join the panel. Live video phone in. Here we go. You ready? Everyone can be on the call to give you your thoughts on today's event. Live video phone in. You have to be a member. Let me pin that to the top. Did I give the link? Yes, I did. There's the link, and you can be on with the panel, so you can be part of the call. We have Saab, we have Silverbird, we have Sensei. We're going to discuss what you just heard and much, much more. It's going to be great. So get ready to take part in today's call. We have 10 spots. I'd like to fill all 10 spots in. If you'd like to call in, the link is at the top. It's pinned to the top. Go to the top, click live chat, and you'll find the link. Click on it. Now, before you call in, you have to be a member. You have to have a badge next to your name, and you have to put in the chat, you're calling in on what name, so I know who to look out for. And once the remaining 7 spots are gone, they are gone. Okay, so let's get all 10 spots filled up. You can ask questions directly to me, directly to Sensei, anybody else on the panel, and we can discuss what we've just heard today going forward. And then Sensei's ready with some charts and some technicals, data, his thoughts and reaction. So all of that on the price action and where we go forward. Now, you can see XRP has had a good day. It's been a green day. The S&P pumped and then sold back down again, which is why I trimmed. I've got 34 grand here, earning 4% at the moment, waiting to buy back. I'm still in, but I just trimmed right at the top because I'm expecting a carry trade unwind. I'm quite confident of that. Sensei, not so much. He doesn't think we're going to get that, but I actually think, no, we're not going to get that. I actually think we are. But there's Sensei's newsletter in the center of the screen. We'll be looking at that and bringing some more details there in a moment. So let me just go back to the panel. Have we got anybody else calling in just yet? Not just yet. I'll give you a moment. Right. So before I announce what you're going to get today as becoming a member, let me just give you all the links that you need. If you want to help me raise millions of dollars for charitable causes, I want to start off by doing an event for Zach, Development Alert Uganda, help them build wells in Uganda. But I also want to help all the families over there in Texas, Kerrville, that lost their families lost their children in those floods. It's not far from me, and in fact, it's literally on the camp of the Lions Club, so I know where the area is. And all we need you to do is subscribe to the music channel so we can get 10,000 subscribers so they can turn YouTube charitable giving, where you can link a live event or a video with a registered charity. No money comes to me, no transaction fees, no credit card fees, no taxes. It's an amazing thing. If everyone could just give me that subscription, it benefits me in no way other than the pleasure of doing it. Everyone do it right now. Your name will come up on the screen as well. And we're not that far away. We're about 1,300 subscribers away now from that target. And considering we have nearly 100,000 here, I should do it in a day, but sadly, I just can't get people to do it straight away. It takes time, but please help us with that. If you'd like to follow us on X, we've got our X poll and our Instagram. There it is. We'll give you our free training course as well. There is Discord. When you click on that link, it'll take you to this link here. And what I want you to do, if you want our free training course, it's a service that we provide on our Discord. Our Discord is just $2.99. You got to purchase it. If you click join server, you see nothing. You just got to do this, and then you get the free training course. There'll be another video, I think, coming out today. I know we're a bit delayed because of obviously all this stuff has taken precedent. What else can I give you? I think that's it. There's the membership link. If anybody wants free shares from Robinhood USA, there you go. Free shares from Robinhood UK, there you go. Right, I think we're good. I don't think anybody else is calling in for a minute. Let me go back over to the panel and get our first reaction. Sensei is an investor in XRP. So is Silverbird, and so is Saab. I'd like to get their thoughts on what they just heard, and then Sensei will give us some charts and some technicals. Saab's got his mug there. So everybody, I think I've muted everybody, so I'm going to unmute my guests. I've unmuted Silverbird. A guest, Sensei, you can unmute yourself now as well. Let's get initial reactions from you, and in a few moments, I will give all those members that joined today. Oh, thank you, Ethel. Thank you, Ethel. I can't wait to be able to support those families in Kerrville. Thank you so much indeed. I can't do it without 10,000 subscribers. YouTube won't turn it on. Right, let's start off with Sensei. Sensei, what do you think? First of all, thank you very much for being with me. You did the breakfast show and you were with me most of the time other than your little break. Other than that, you're here. Sensei, what was your reaction on what you heard today?
My reaction was, firstly, thank you for having me on, and secondly, it was just to get some water, so...
Yeah, but there's nothing funny in that, though, is there?
It's not a break,
if I just said, Sensei's gone to get some water... No one cares. If I make out you're a bit of a wuss and you got tired, now that's funny. So I went with that line. It doesn't have to be true.
It's not funny. It's not funny for me.
Very funny for me. Carry on, mate.
It's a shame that Brad Garlinghouse didn't get to speak as much as we thought. That was obviously to do with the people asking the questions. They didn't direct them at Brad Garlinghouse. But I think his statement said enough. I think the sentiment's out there on how to regulate these things. I think overall it was pretty bullish. Just sorry, I just heard something in the background.
Is it them chickens XRP again? It's them chickens again.
No,
isn't
it was a phone. It was your phone, Martyn. Your phone was ringing.
My phone was ringing. No, it ain't.
Someone's phone.
Stop making it up. It's not Saab's phone. Don't blame Saab. You're always blaming somebody else, you. Get on with it.
It was my wife's phone.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? It was Silverbird's phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife's phone.
Yeah. You should have just kept that quiet, mate. You should have kept that to yourself. Just say nothing. Just say nothing. Sensei, carry on, mate.
I'll show you the charts after we get everyone's thoughts and reaction, but a slight sell-off happening now, but still holding up quite bullishly. I'm not going to take away too much from that event apart from what I've already said, which is it's very bullish that we've got Brad Garlinghouse there in front of Senate. It's going to get a lot of people excited. A lot of, remember the Genius Act, the Clarity Act, the Anti-CBDC Act is coming forward, and this is going to help push them forward, and it's really going to benefit Ripple. So that's why he's there. He's going to go and interact with these people straight after as well. It's not just there. He's going to go and speak to them now behind closed doors. So we will see a few things come from it. Again, Ripple is at the forefront of this. So again, maybe not on the day. We might not see the most bullish price action, even though we are still up and we're not selling off quite yet. And XLM is up 13%, for example, today. So the markets are taking it quite well. But this is more of a long-term game for me. And I think this is very bullish in the long term. That's my initial thoughts and reactions.
Well, you might not have a lot to say or anything to take away particularly, but I bloody well do, because I'm going to tell you now, it's exactly what I said. I love the price action of XRP. It went up steadily, slowly, a little bit of trimming, nice and healthy. Didn't expect it to boom. I always said that, didn't I? It's a bit like the Ethereum, I use the example, Ethereum Lightning 2. The whole world thought suddenly Ethereum would double overnight, and it didn't do anything. XRP is a grown-up asset. I like it. It reminds me a little bit of the digital S&P 500. Everyone gets a bit excited when something happens. It goes up a little bit, and then it just goes a little bit sideways until the next big thing. Today wasn't a great in my opinion, it was a big, important day, but it wasn't a reason why we should all rush out and buy XRP. You should already own it. And I like that. A nice steady growth, just steadily growing, doing a nice grown-up, sensible trade action. I like this, actually. The more I see it, the more I think, I should have a little bit of this. But, for integrity, I don't. Let me come on to Silverbird. What's your thoughts, sir?
Well, it's about time that all of this that we've known for Joey. Shh. It's about time that what we've known for years now is being said with the public.
Yeah,
it's a good step. It's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah,
and I've got to go because I have to go and mow my lawn. But I just wanted to translate what Elizabeth Warren said for those who didn't understand what she said. And here's the translation.
Good, that,
okay.
Mate. I must admit, it did make us all jump for a minute. Thank you ever so much for calling in. I appreciate it. Thank you, mate.
Thank you for having me. And also the other day, I didn't make to your party because they asked me to work at the last minute, so I didn't make it.
No worries. I understand. Yeah. Stuff comes
Sorry
up.
About that.
But thank you for being here today, and thank you for staying all the way through the call. Now go and cut your grass. Go and cut your grass.
Pleasure.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Saab, we may have some other guests calling in. If you are a member, I can't see your name and who you are until you give me your name in the chat. So to call in, it is members only if you wish to call in and be on the show. So if you wish to call in, you need to be a member, have a badge next to your name, and you also need to tell me who you are calling in so I can see who it is, because I'm not going to let a bot or a troll or some crazy lunatic come on the screen. So, and trust me, there are a few. So if you are calling in, be a member and tell me in the chat you're calling in so I can pick up the call to you. Otherwise, you'll just sit in a dark room and go nowhere. So, Saab, good afternoon, sir. How are you? What did you think of that today?
Well, like Sensei said, there wasn't that much to it, and Brad didn't get to speak a lot, but it comes at a good time, because of, digital assets need to start getting legislation and things are going through the House. So, really, this is what we're expecting, and it was going to be a long, arduous process. But the fact we're in there now and it's being talked about, and, they want efficiency. So they kind of know it's coming, so they're starting to move forward with it, and it's been, it's actually in the House, so that's the positive that we're going to take, I think, out of this.
Yeah,
but there wasn't a lot there, but
no.
Other than that, it's good that we're there. So
no, I'm going to in a second, Sensei, invite you to share, and I'll go full screen on for your chart technical side of things, where you think it should we take profit here. What do you think? Let's have a look at that in a second. I'm sure lots of my viewers our viewers, I should say, would love to know that. I've got a few people calling in, but I don't know who you are until you give your name in the chat. Show me you're a member with your badge. I don't know, so I can't answer the call to you. So just do that, please. Tap the like button if you just tuned in. Consider subscribing. I'm going to give you a couple of things as Sensei prepares his information for you. So we have to share with you, very, very exciting. We've got let me go over to here, our shop. Sensei, have we got any of these left? I know you only had 10 available. This is Brad. Senator XRP is not a security. So we've got get a t-shirt bundle and a mug. If you'd like that, I'll put the link in the chat. It's martynlucasshop.com, and you can get there's just 10 of those available, so you're buying a collector's piece here, and once they're gone. We're not bringing them back. This is just to celebrate today with our logo and so on and so forth. I still see nobody confirming they're calling in, but I'm getting signals that people are. I just can't pick up the phone until I know it's who you are. So there is that. I'd also like to put on the screen our newsletter. Sensei covered the event today. Let me scroll down and show you XRP's big story of the day. We've got SpaceX in the newsletter, and let me scroll down. I love this newsletter, by the way, Sensei. It's just getting better and better and better. Vertical Aerospace made the newsletter. China made the newsletter. Where's XRP? Oh, there we go. XRP is there. So if you want the newsletter, this is how you get it. Let me now pin this to the chat. Here it comes. There you go. And I'm going to give everybody their perks and benefits in a moment. And you're going to love it, I promise you that. There is the newsletter. When you click on that link, what you come to is this. This is the annual, this is the free trial. So everyone can try this for free. Very good way of doing it, I think. Sensei, just tell me a bit more about the newsletter and how that works, please, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I think if you're not a gambler, if you're not someone who just speculates randomly, you want to get the news. So there's no doubt people want the news, the real news, whether that's crypto, XRP, Ripple. The question is, where do you go for your news? And I think the best place to go to for your news is this newsletter. Every single day, you get the 5 things you need to know. You get the deeper dive. You get the charts of the day. You get the one big thing. You get the money move. You get everything you need to know before the bell every single day. And there's normally a Ripple story, an XRP story in there every single day because they keep innovating and it's one of the biggest companies. So definitely go and subscribe for the newsletter. You get that every single day to your inbox, plus other deeper dives on stocks and other cryptos, and you get the EVTOL newsletter every Saturday. And there's a community in there where you can ask me questions 24/7. So it works out for 30 cents a day, and there's a free trial. Just try it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm sure you'll love it. You need the news if you're an investor, and this is the best place to get it, in my opinion.
Thank you very much, Sensei. We've just had another one of our members. This is Beachfront Java. You can see now why we have to verify who you are. We've no idea. But she's called in. This is Valerie. Valerie, good afternoon to you. Where are you calling in from?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Where are you calling in from?
Okay, sorry about my phone. I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Florida.
Oh, not Fort Lauderdale is that Florida or
Florida?
Florida.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Don't know why I was getting confused there. Hey, what do you expect? I'm an Englishman. I can't remember everywhere in America. It's a big country, isn't it? Lovely to have you here. Are you an XRP investor?
For a while, yes.
Oh, you got an XRP mug. Excellent. Is that one of our mugs? Is that one of our mugs?
No, I'm sorry. I got that a long time ago.
You can be forgiven then. You can be forgiven.
Okay.
What's your question and what's your thoughts on what you heard today?
Well, sorry, I'm at work, as you can tell. Phones are ringing. Sorry about that. Yeah.
What do you do for work? What do you do for work?
Well, actually, I work for an export company while I'm building my own little company on the side. That's what Beachfront Java is, the coffee company I'm starting. So
what did your business do?
They export housewares and fitness equipment to the Caribbean.
Do you do it on? Oh, I love the Caribbean. Do you do it online?
No, we do it direct through distributorship. So there's not really a website or anything.
But your own personal one is a coffee company, did you say?
Yes. You guys were. I really called in because you gave me a shout out when I joined, and I got all of these members. I'm like, oh my gosh! So I had to call in and thank you personally, face to face.
Not at all. Absolute pleasure.
It was beautiful. That was wonderful.
I remember.
I appreciate the broadcast.
No, I remember now. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I do remember now. Yes, we picked up your YouTube channel and got everyone to subscribe to you. Yeah.
And you have no idea.
Hang on a minute.
That was a wonderful day.
Hang on a minute. It made you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna make you really happy now then, because we only had 300 people watching. Now we got millions. We got millions now. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it again. Right, get ready. Right. Now it's gonna get really exciting. Right? Look at this, folks.
Oh my God.
This is oh my God, indeed. That's right. You can't buy this publicity, right? There's Beachfront Java. She's calling in. She's excited. Look, she's all excited. I love this. This is what this show's about, right? Every time you get an opportunity to help somebody, do it. You know why? Because it feels good. People go, well, if you give, you always get back. Sod the getting back. Just do it. Have a good time. Yeah, look. It does work out. She's called in the show and now she's excited. It's always good, right? So this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do, right? We've got how many people watching? 1,000. She could get monetized in 1 minute. 1,000 subscribers. Boom. She's done. What took me 2.5 years could happen in one bloody minute. Oh, if that happens, I'm going to be very upset about it. Right, here we go. Here we go. She's got 95 subscribers. She can go live if she gets 100, right? 95.
Oh my God.
She could get 1,000 if everyone does it. Why wouldn't you not do it? Why would you not do it? Here we go. Everybody in the chat. This is this is Valerie, Beachfront Java, right? She could pay millions for this, but she's going to get it just because she called in. So I told you good stuff happens when you call in. Right, there's the link in the chat.
Calling about XRP.
Yeah, I know. See, you never know what happens, do you? I love it. Right, Beachfront Java. Can everyone click on it? What does she do? Let me give you a little clip. Let me give you a little clip, right? We got a little scene here. Oh, I like this. We got a little scene on a beach. Oh, this is a coffee. I tell you what.
Coffee at the beach. My favorite thing.
Hey, coffee at the beach. I like a bit of coffee at the beach. Look at that, down there in the Caribbean. This is what we're talking about. I do expect a crate of coffee to turn up and a ticket to the Caribbean. I'm just saying. In fact, I'll have the coffee and I'll have both. Right, okay.
Sarah, you can have coffee for life.
Coffee for life. Right, you ready? Let's start. Has everyone done it? I want everyone to do it. Come on, everybody. Let's make Valerie really happy just because. No reason. Just because it's nice, isn't it? It's nice, isn't it? Right, ready? 3, 2, 1. She was at 95. She was at 95. She's now at 128. Bloody hell. Brilliant. That's about a 30% increase in a minute. But we could do better than that, can't we? I tell you what, I'm going to go back to Valerie. I'm going to leave it in the chat. I want everyone to do it. Let's do something mega. Let's get her to 1,000 in one go. Anyway, Valerie, how are you?
How am I?
Yeah, it's good here, isn't it?
There you go, just subscribed.
my God.
Subscribe. There you go. 128. What are we now? Right, so Valerie, what did you, let's get off, we got to get back to XRP. We can't just talk about your beach coffee all day long, right? You can't come on the show, taking over the show with your coffee. Tell me all about XRP. She's going, I didn't, you did it. Why are you having a go at me? This is what happens. Tell me all about XRP. What do you think about it?
I first heard about XRP actually in 2019.
Right.
First time into crypto, not hearing much about anything. What is Bitcoin? What's Ethereum? And then I started hearing about XRP. And the more I investigated, I thought, well, this seems like a fairly stable, good issue, because then I got into Ripple. And following Ripple made me decide to buy 1,000 tokens of XRP. And I've held it all this time. I'm not a big investor. I don't have a lot of money to throw into things, but I know what I hold.
Hey,
and I see the value in it.
Don't you worry about that.
So I'm holding it.
It's not about how much money
like you with the S&P, I'm not touching it. It's there. Yeah.
Well, you got to trim a little bit. Remember, I started with 5,000. Yeah. I got $250,000 now. I was in $500,000 about a week ago, and I sold all my margin because I'd used margin to get that massive V shape, $70,000 swing, textbook stuff, 50% on the S&P in 3 months, outperforming everybody. Then I got rid of it. Sold from the top, paid no tax. Now I've just sold another 30,000 from the top. Now I'll pay a little bit of tax, but very hardly any. So now I've got cash to buy. I'm out of margin. I've got 30 grand to buy a big dip because I think we're going to get one. So nothing wrong with trimming, But anyway, it doesn't matter whether you got $1, $5, $1 million. We can all have the same percentages, no matter how much money. So don't say I've only got a few. I've got none, Valerie. I've got no XRP. You got a lot more than me. And I had it at 38 cents when you didn't even know about it. I had it then.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Right.
So what did you think about today?
I need to make a correction, Martyn. She knew about it before you. She was in 2019.
That's insane. I know, but you didn't have to rub it in, did you?
He stole your thunder there.
Yeah, he did. He was just sitting there thinking, I can get one back on him. Saab, I haven't asked you yet. What do you think about today?
You did ask me. I thought it was, it was good. You know what I mean? But the whole, the fact that we're getting recognition, in the house, that's the most important thing right now. With it's a critical time for like digital assets, and with Trump's big move about us being the center of the crypto industry and regulation starting to come in. That's the most important thing we can take out of this, I think, today.
152 subscribers. That's right, Saab. I totally agree. Today was just a day, a day at the office. Nothing too dramatic, which is what we want, isn't it? We don't want up 50%, down 50%. That makes it a gamble stock, a meme stock. It makes it uninvestable, in my opinion. Who wants to be up 50% and then down 50%? That ain't no good for anybody. It's no good for your heart pressure, your blood pressure. So, what's your thoughts, Valerie, long term for this? For XRP, what are you thinking? Why did you buy it, and where do you see it going?
To me, it was not as speculative as people always say it is. I saw growth happening over these past years. I see Ripple using the XRP and XRP Ledger just moving along, as you say, like an adult, like a company, growing in their partnerships, growing in their software. They're moving forward, no matter what's going on with the SEC or with FUD on the internet or that, I don't know what that crazy thing is called X. They just move forward. They're gaining value. They do what they do. They do what they say they're going to do. And if they have a problem, they don't hide from it. I respect that.
And you seem to have a different type of investor too. Because when me and Sensei say it could go down 50%, and we've done that a couple of times when it's corrected, people don't want to hear you say that, but they don't have the hate and the aggression of some of the other coins that we've spoken about recently, where everyone's just, because no one really knows what they own. And when you don't know really what you own, and deep down you're just guessing and gambling, when someone says it's going down, you just jump off a cliff and go crazy. Whereas if I say today it could go down 50%, people just don't care. They go, it's like if someone told me the S&P is going to go down 50%, I'll go, great, I'll buy more. I wouldn't freak and jump up and down and go, you bloody, you're destroying my stock, you are. I wouldn't care. I'd just go, that's brilliant, because I know what I own and what the value is.
I don't have as much knowledge in it as you do, but didn't Amazon and Apple and all the titans we know today go down to crazy low numbers at one point?
They have all had their day. They've all had their dark days. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Well, Valerie, I can give you your final number. You are now on 155 subscribers. You were at 95 a minute ago. So you're on your way to your 1,000. And that'll give a good kick to your algorithm today. And good luck with your coffee business. And I'd love to help you. And yes, Saab.
Valerie, can I ask you a question? Like, you've been in since 2019. So do you talk to people about XRP, or do you just hold it quietly?
It depends on who I'm talking to. Most of my family have no idea, no matter how I try to describe what crypto is, what XRP is, who Ripple is. I try to throw that out there. I put a little aside for them, especially the kids in the family and so forth. I'm like, I think it's going to be something in the future, but that's as far as it's gone. Not a lot of people in my circle, unfortunately, think about investing, think about new innovations.
Savage Faith Creations.
Fogging along myself.
Thank you for your thoughts. What we're going to do now is we're going to get a technical chart as we wrap up today's show from Sensei, and then we're going to give everybody the surprises that I promised you if you became a member on today's show. So Sensei, you get ready for your charts. Let me give everybody the links you need in today's show. So if you want Seeking Alpha or Alpha Spread, the two research software platforms that I use, there's the link. Without referrals, you won't get a free trial. You might find some discounts, but you won't get as big as I can get. I can promise you that, because I only do referrals when I get the best deals. Otherwise, I just don't do it. And you get free trials when you can't get a free trial without a referral. So there are my two softwares. Try those out. If you want to help me raise millions for charity, right down at Curval where the Lions camp, Sensei's getting hot and uncomfortable again. He's getting hot. Oh, I'm taking my jacket off. Wait, while you're on stage, Sensei, you say suited and booted until the end. And it's not the end. Anyway, moving on. So please subscribe to my music channel and look at him smile. He can smile. We'll have words at the end. I said to him today, it's a smart day, suited and booted, not your hoodie today. Not your hoodie today, suited and booted. How long did that last? Soon he had a chance, took it off, didn't he? So go and subscribe to the music channel. Help me get to 10,000 subscribers. I'm actually meeting with a Dallas Lion Sanctuary, a tiger sanctuary tomorrow, who have said they're going to get me to 10,000 all by themselves if I do a fundraiser for them, which of course I'm going to do. So I'm so excited to do that. Right, there's X if you want to follow me on X and take part in all the things. And once you follow me on X, you will see Sensei's channel there as well. Let me just show you how we do this. If I put Sensei on the screen with me, there you go. There's our X account, and see right at the top, if you see who I'm following, I'm only following because I'm very miserable. I follow myself, a bit weird, isn't it? My musical self. I follow Sensei and I follow Vaz. In case you're wondering why I do that, people often say, why don't you follow me back? Because follow for follow is rubbish. It's good for people who just want to follow for whatever reason. But because I want to provide content and value to get seen, you don't follow for follow. You do the hard work. You follow nobody. You just create content and then people follow you if it's good. You don't try and get free follow for follows. Top tip there. If anybody wants to ever become...
So are you telling everyone not to follow then?
You follow me? Yeah. No. Everyone follows me. Yeah, but hang on, Sensei. So just so I can explain that, hang on a minute. Let me explain it. Most people here are not professional Xers, are they? Are you a professional Xer, Valerie?
No.
Saab, are you a professional Xer?
I'm over 100 now, so I think I might turn into a professional. I might have to cancel you. I might have to cancel you.
Yeah, you need 5 million. You need 5 million impressions. How are you going with that then? How you go? I'm on 1.4 million over the last 3 months, so I've got a long way to go as well.
So you didn't have to brag. You didn't have to brag, mate.
I'm nowhere near. I've got to go to 5 million. I'm on 1.4 over 3 months. It's a rolling number. I got a long way to go. So the point is, if you are a creator and that's what you want to do, you got to be selective about providing content and not just follow for follow, because it's bad form. Just follow someone to unfollow them. People who just want to get big for nothing and don't do any hard work, that's a strategy they use. If you are just a normal person, a nice person like Valerie and Saab, who just want to read content and support others, you're a consumer. You're not creating very much. You're a consumer. That's fine. You know who you are. You read. You don't create it, right? So that's fine. But it's people that create accounts just to follow everybody, just to unfollow them, just to create nothing. That's the point. Have I got myself out of the hole? Probably not.
Not really. You basically just said anyone who's a big follower, please don't follow us. So now everyone who's got... see in the chat, I'm following now, Martyn. Matthias is unfollowing. He has 10,000 subscribers.
Listen a minute.
Go on, Sensei.
Listen a minute. Right, you follow me. I follow you. I follow Vaz. I would follow anybody that I'm engaged. I'm going to leave this because this is never going to end well for me now. Just follow who you bloody like. I'm trying to help you out here. Right, follow who you like. Right, what was I doing? Let's move on to the next subject. Yeah, we'll pass over X. If you want the training... This has gone badly. Someone's going to clip this. If you want the Discord free training program, we make money on investing, so we don't sell your training programs. We give it to you for free. When you click on the Discord link, click on this, and don't choose the join server. You can, but you'll see nothing. What you need to do is $2.99. We've made it as cheap as possible, and then we give you the training course. We have a training course, and we provide one-on-one service. That's why it's quite small, because once it gets too big, we'll stop taking new members because we provide the one-on-one service. All right, so there's that. Let me come back to... hello, what was that? That was an invisible man. Right, what else do I want to do? Right then, if you want the membership link, there is the membership link. Now, I did say to everybody, if you become a member in today's show, you'd be in for a treat. We're going to finish up with Sensei's chart at the end. So what we're going to do is this. If you are a member, just so you know, if you're a member, you get the members-only live streams, members-only chats. When we're a regular show, you can chat in the live show. Also, if you comment below any of my videos, I reply to all of my members personally, no AI. I speak it rather than type it because I'm rubbish at typing, and it writes it quicker, but it is me talking to you. I will reply to every single member who asked me a question. Also, once you are a member, you can request for $5 minimum an earnings call. It's earnings next week. We're going to cover Bank of America, and we're hoping to hear about, look at this. Look at all the people that have joined in here. Whoa, for Bank of America next week. Bloody hell, look at that lot. Here is the Bank of America event. We're always listening into the banks because that's where the money of XRP and Ripple will be going, all right? So we like to look at that. There is the Bank of America event. You might want to just click like there and click a reminder for that event, okay? Let me come back to our party screen. And you can order your own earnings calls or an analysis and stock reviews, and Sensei will do charts for our members, all kind of other things. And plus, today, I say, if you become a member, we're going to just do something special for you. So this is what we're going to do for everybody who became a member today and yesterday, because someone said in the chat, well, I became a member yesterday. Do I miss out? No, you don't. No one misses out. So here we go. This is what I've just created a few seconds ago. Here it is. This Friday, which is July the 11th at 4 p.m. Central, in 2 days' time, we have just created this event here. It's the XRP Action for Change. We're going to have a party on the music channel, and we're going to bring XRP to an even wider audience. And everybody today who became a member on the show can have a free song request and dedicate it to a loved one, a birthday, anniversary, wedding anniversary, I don't know, whatever you like, if you became a member today, and I know who you are, so don't tell me you weren't if you're not, right? There is the link, all right, and that's the event. So that's happening on Friday. If you go there now, you can click like, just like that. You can leave me your song request in the chat. I'll know you remember. It's a separate channel, so you might want to subscribe to our music channel. That helps me get to 10,000 so I can do my charity work anyway. But there it is. Click notify so you don't miss it. It's a live concert on Friday. We've got the XRP song. You all know about it. If you all heard of it? Have you all heard of it? Where is it? I got it here somewhere. I'll give you a little clip. A little taster. Little taster. Here it comes. XRP. You'll be hearing this live. Always believe in your flow. All right, you'll be getting that on Friday live, not just recorded like that, all that good stuff. So make sure that you go there now, leave a comment. In fact, we've already got somebody jumped in. So all of you that became members today, you'll get a free song request. There's James already in East First. Everybody go and share this out. XRP. We want to bring this to a whole new audience. There it is in the chat. I've just given it you several times at the bottom there. All right. So there you go. We've mentioned the shop. We've mentioned the newsletter, Sensei. Is there anything I've missed out before you do the charts? No?
No. I'm ready.
You're ready. Are you sure? You don't sound that convinced. You don't sound as enthusiastic today. Someone said in the chat, is Sensei falling asleep? Was you falling asleep today?
No one said that.
They did.
They said I was thinking.
Someone said you were thinking. Someone said there's stuff going on in your head all the time. But someone said, is Sensei bored? He looks like he's falling asleep. That's not just today. That happens quite a lot. It's just that look you have. You have that look.
I don't say all the stuff they say about you, Martyn. So
I know.
I don't want.
Don't worry, mate. Don't worry. I read it. I'm not going to repeat it though. But yeah, sometimes you go into a deep thinking thought. You're sort of like that. And you stare at the screen for like 10 minutes. And you don't move. Sometimes I look at it and I think, is the screen frozen or has he just died? Is he dead? Sometimes I think you're dead. And then I hear a chicken in the background go, I go, he's not dead. He's okay. He's not dead.
I'm just rethinking my life decisions.
I know, life decisions, mate. Right, so Sensei, have you got anything you'd like to share with us? Yes or no?
I'd love to share quite a few things if you don't mind.
I don't mind, mate.
On the charts, everything.
On the charts, XRP.
Yeah.
Saab, you got anything you want to ask?
Yeah, I mean, XRP did a great thing today. You know, they just had a nice little jump, even though there wasn't that much news. It just shows that people are still in XRP. XLM went up 14%. HBAR went up 6%. And the other thing is
Valerie.
You in all those? Yes.
So you made loads of money today, ain't you?
Yeah, we're making money today, and
he
Valerie,
hasn't bought a mug. He
The
hasn't
other
bought
thing,
a
because
mug.
you live in Florida. You live in Florida, Valerie. They
Yes.
just eliminated tax on gold, silver, and platinum.
I like that. I like that.
Saab
I
likes
have the
that. He's
same
got
coins
loads of
you have
gold.
too. XLM, HBAR, IOTA, Algorand. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. So, oh, hello. What's this?
MSK donated £2 through a super chat. Undo the top button for the ladies, Sensei LOL.
What's all this? What's all this, Sensei, for the ladies? Why is Sensei getting all the attention? Is it because he's undone his Valerie? Do you like my bow tie?
I do.
See?
Very distinguished. Sir. See?
You don't have to go scruffy like Sensei. Just chill, just relaxing. We've got standards here. Oh, hello.
Matthias donated 59 Norwegian kroner through a super chat. When Sensei is thinking, I make money.
This is
Thoughtful
true.
face emoji,
We like
money
that.
bag emoji.
Well, let's see if you can make money now. He's calling you a moron, Sensei. Logan G's having a go. I shouldn't have read that out. I think that's one of my trolls. Right, so what we're going to... I read. This is the trouble, Valerie. Things are happening so quick. I see comments, start to read and go, oops, I shouldn't have read that one out. I've been caught out on that a few times. I try to not do it. Right, Sensei, it's over to you now, mate. I'm going to get rid of my little things here, and we're going to put you on the screen. I'm going to make you go guest solo, and let me change this. And because we've been moving the numbers around today, so I've just got to change this. Source. Oh my gosh, I forgot what to do now. Guess one. Sensei. Guess number 9. There you go. That works good. All right, Sensei. Oh, look, it looks like your breakfast show now. It's like I'm not even here. Go on, mate. Do your best.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Martyn. Let's have a quick look at the charts and what it means for XRP going forward, and just recap on my thoughts on all of this. So let's get straight into it. XRP currently is trading at $2.38. We haven't got the dump after this. We haven't got a sell the news event, which is very, very good news in terms of showing strength. Nothing major happened during that hearing, but maybe that was a good thing. It showed that.
Sensei, can you talk charts for a minimum of 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah, I can do 5. Yeah, I'll do a minimum of 5 minutes.
Minimum of 5 minutes. That way I can go and just relax a little bit. I can just go and visit the restroom because I've been sitting here for 6 hours. Sensei, back to you.
Thank you, Martyn. Let's. Okay, so so it wasn't a pump and dump, which was quite good news. And that's what actually shows quite a lot of strength. So I'm quite happy that nothing major happened. Otherwise, we could have seen quite a big reversal, because that's how prices trade, a bit irrationally. Sometimes on good news, you get that dump. We didn't really get that much news, but we did get Brad in front of Senate, which he's probably speaking to a few members right now, advocating for a few of those bills. Right now, XRP's price is at $2.37. We are kind of in the middle of no man's land. Remember, if I just zoom out of this chart and we go to the daily time frame, you can see that $2.30 was that level of resistance that we've been looking at for quite a while now. Finally, yesterday we got that breakout above $2.30. Today we've seen the follow through. If this daily candle stays where it is right now, that would be a very bullish close for the daily candle. We can't say for sure that the price isn't going to sell off. I'm just going to get rid of this. We can't say for sure that the price is going to sell off, is not going to sell off by the end of the day. So we're going to keep an eye on it. But if the daily candle closes like this, back above $2.30, closing around these $2.35, $2.37 or higher, then that does present the case very nicely to head up to $2.50 and $2.62 in the coming days and weeks. We do have quite a big breakout if you look at it on a longer time frame. You've got right now, if you just take away all those lines we have right now, $2 is a support, but what we've got is this bullish pennant structure, which we had once before as well, and that led to a big breakout. And right now you can see this big structure here dating all the way back to the all-time highs back in January of 2025. You've got a bullish pennant, which is breaking out right now into on the bullish side of things. The target for that structure takes us up all the way to $3.40, $3.50 if we do hit those targets. There is targets along the way, $2.62, $3, and then $3.40. But I'm definitely more bullish than not. Remember, nothing I say is financial advice. This is only my thoughts and opinions. Please do not buy or sell based off anything I'm saying today or ever. I just want to make that absolutely clear. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm only here showing you my thoughts and opinions. So this structure is something a lot of traders are looking at. Again, the measured move is basically taking us to all-time highs. So stay tuned for that, because that could happen very quickly. We do have a lot of XRP ETFs that could get approved any day now. The final deadlines will come in October, so it could be a while before we see those ETFs, or it could be soon. Just be prepared for all situations. Going into the smaller timeframes, right now we do have a upwards trending, an upward sloping trend line all the way from yesterday, following this all the way to the upside. If this does break, then I would say potentially we come in for a retest of $2.30. Right now we're quite a way above this trend line, so we can retrace to $2.35 and continue our steady trajectory to our upside. But not right now, we are actually more bullish than not. I wouldn't be taking a trade here. The trade I took was at $2.30, and I did, and I will be closing that leverage position around these levels, because that's enough of gains, and I don't know, we're in the middle of no man's land, and there is still a possibility that we sell off throughout the day. Still bullish on the short time, the medium time frame, the long term time frame. My targets have not changed for this bull cycle. Everyone asks me, when is this bull cycle? When are we going to see all time highs? I cannot answer that question because I don't know. But right now we are getting quite a few bullish catalysts. All I do know is where I'm going to be taking profits, which would be $4.70, $5.30, $6.30, $7.41, $8.51, and then I do have some higher price targets of $11 and $13. By the time we get to $8, most of my profits will be taken. Why? Well, because I want to bet, because I bought at 30 cents, 35 cents, and I'd like to take some profits, and I would like to buy back in the bear market. I do think we'll come into a bear market by this time next year. We would have probably seen the all-time highs for XRP. Whether it happens or doesn't happen, I expect the bull market to end within the next 10 months. When it happens, it will happen very quickly. My best guess is probably October, when all those ETFs start coming out. The hype will come in, the FOMO will come in, we will see that blow off top, and potentially a bear market, which brings us back down to levels like this, or $1.50 in the bear market, depending on how high we go. There's always the concern that we don't get a proper altcoin season and a proper bull market. That is something you always have to prepare for. You just have to prepare for, we're sat at $2.40 now, and we go all the way down to 50 cents. It's an opportunity. It will be an opportunity. It is a risk. And you just have to be prepared for that scenario. Some people look at that as a terrible thing that would happen. Those are normally the gamblers, the ones that want to make money very quickly. The long-term investors, the majority of the XRP army, don't think like that. They think if it goes down, perfect, I get to buy more. And that's what my sentiment is. I'm not saying that should be your sentiment, but that's certainly my sentiment. When you look at other cryptocurrencies and how they're performing, people get so scared when it goes down 10, 15, 20% because they're not confident in their investments. Read about XRP, read about Ripple, and then you can decide whether or not you are confident on your investment. XLM is also, as Saab pointed out, up 11 and 12% today. As I've always said, if XRP goes up, be prepared for XLM to go up in more of a decisive manner, or more volatile than XRP. It's a lower market cap, but it does tend to follow XRP, and that's why I'm invested in XLM. You've also got so before we move on to HBAR, you've got XLM back above 27 cents. The next target for XLM is 41 cents, and that can happen fast as well. That's another 40% move towards the upside. HBAR is also up 5%. The next target for that is 18 cents, and then we can look at further targets of 25 cents. The majority of the crypto coins are up today. The altcoins are having a little run, while Bitcoin is only up 0.5%. You do have Bitcoin dominance heading down right now as well. Remember, Bitcoin dominance is how much of the market cap is in Bitcoin. And we did say a couple of days ago, get ready for a little altcoin season, a little altcoin pop, because we came into resistance for Bitcoin dominance. And ever since, we've seen altcoins outperform Bitcoin, and altcoins normally give us better returns than the altcoin market. I do apologize for the sun coming in. I don't normally go live at this time of day, but when the sun comes behind,
you could get a blind. We've talked about it loads of times. Bit of cardboard on the window.
I was hoping you weren't here, Martyn.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm always here. I'm always watching.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, I better end this soon. So that's Bitcoin dominance. That's why we're getting a little push up with the altcoins. So keep an eye on Bitcoin dominance. All the news every single day is on the newsletter. Martyn has posted his link in the chat. So if there's one thing you should do if you're a real investor, go and sign up for the newsletter. All the news stories every single day. The tariff news, vertical aerospace, big deep dive section today on XRP with all the charts, so you can have it. All the news about Brad Garlinghouse, the charts of the day, the economic calendar, what happens every week. So please do go and sign up for that, and please do follow us on X as well. And before we end the stream, I'm sure Martyn has some remarks as well. Please go and get the mug. I think there's only about 5 left, so please go and get it. This is the first time you've got 25% off the mug and the t-shirt. I'm sure this will become a collector's item in the future. It is one of the coolest designs we've done so far. Senator, XRP is not a security. Remember this important day. It will be one that will be put in the history books, in my opinion. So thank you, Martyn. That's all my remarks. Remember, we are live all the time with XRP crypto news. So do make sure you are subscribed before we go. We go live every single day. We bring you the real honest news, unlike other channels. So if it is your first time here, make sure you subscribe and join our shows. I'll pass it back to you, Martyn.
Thank you very much, mate. If you can come on and normal screen, that'll be great, just to fill your spot. There you go. Right, so make sure that you go and check out the XRP song. Blow it up. XRP, always believe in your flow. Oh yeah. You've got the strength that we know. I can do it. I can do it. I've still got it, Valerie. I've still got it, Valerie.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
There you go. See, Sensei. I've still got it. I've taken my. I thought, well, the ladies like the undone collar thing, so I thought I would do that. Yeah, Saab's going, do it up. We don't want to see it. Right, let me give everybody the link for the XRP song. Make sure you go and watch that now. Trend it, send it around, stick it every on your social media. XRP song. Whoops-a-daisy. Let me just do that. Whoops, I can't write song. That's a bit of a joke, isn't it? There you go. XRP song. Play it right now. Share it everywhere. Replace it in the pin. Put it on your social media. Let it trend. Let new people learn all about it. That's it for us today. We're going to wrap this up. So there is the XRP song in the chat. Here is the event for Friday. So if you become a member today and you drop a request, I will do a song for you on Friday in the XRP party. Sensei's given you the link to the shop. There are only 10 mugs, XRP mugs available. There it is. Let me come back to the party and we're going to do our final thoughts and wrap up. Now, when we finish, it'll automatically take you to this, the extra show. This is important. Let me just do this. We've got a new way of doing it now. Look, me and Sensei both on the screen together. Look at that. Look, see Sensei with his light on the screen. Just a bit of cardboard, bit of paper on the window, mate. You'd fix that. You'd do it in about 3 seconds, but no. Months later, we're still here. So look, there is the extra channel. You're smiling, but I'm always on about it, aren't I? When do I not mention you and your flipping sunshine? Yeah, Valerie's
when I do my normal shows.
Yeah, Valerie's not happy. Look at her face. She's not impressed. She thought, well, I subscribe to this channel for professionalism, but Sensei's lighting techniques is rubbish. Right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to end the show, send you to extra. Okay, and there's nothing you can do, Sensei. It's the flipping sun. You can't move the sun by moving the camera. What's wrong with you? It's basic physics, mate. Right. So we're going to have the extra show run here for you. We're going to replay what you've missed today. So there's people that tune in different times. But the beauty of it is it's live chat. But also I am here in the studio on this little bit here, and you can talk to me in the studio, chat to everybody, and it is live chat. So go and subscribe to the extra channel. I've given you the link in the chat. Yeah, there you go, a couple of times. But now I'm going to give everyone their final thoughts as I wrap this up. There's not going to be a closing bell today because I've been live for 6.5 hours. It kind of seems a little bit over the top. People are going, there's other things to do than watch you all flipping day, mate. So, final thoughts from Saab. Final thoughts, mate. Guest has muted themselves. It says guest.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, mate. I gave up my early tea time today to watch the show, and not much happened. But you know what? I'm still happy I'm here, guys. Keep investing.
That wasn't much of a testimony for the show, was it? I gave up. I gave up half my life for this.
I gave up my early tea time to watch the show. That's the testimony.
But what about the entertainment and the familyness? What about Valerie going viral on YouTube? What about that? Wasn't that worth showing up for?
That's exactly what I just said, Martyn. I gave up my tea time.
You said it in a sort of very unenthusiastic way.
Yeah, I know. I did.
You said as if it wasn't worth it.
It did sound very depressing.
We all heard it. It was as if it wasn't worth it.
I was a bit gutted, but like I was happy at the same time, you know, because we're making money today, so it's all good.
Yeah, you are.
Stock market's good.
Yeah, yeah, you are. You and your XLM and your H bars.
No, everybody is. Look at the stock market today. It's all green.
Yeah.
You don't see. You don't sound happy.
Well,
Martyn,
I'm up 0.25%. You're talking 10%, 20%. I feel left out again. I'm always left out. Sensei, final thoughts from Valerie. Final thoughts from Valerie.
Well, I have to say I've listened to a lot of rebroadcasts of hearings and so forth, but I've got to say hands down this was the best, the most entertaining, the most informative. They're usually dead boring on any other channel. I enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. As long as you had a good time and we all learned something and we all enjoyed ourselves. Today was another good day. We can mark off and go, that was a good day. Sensei, Mr. Sunshine, give me your final thoughts. I know we can't see you, but we can hear you. The sun doesn't affect the microphone.
At least I've got a microphone and it's half the time works.
Sometimes that's not always on either. But let's just get over that. Yes, Sensei, final thoughts, mate.
Don't even know what to say anymore. No, but in all seriousness, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you are new here, make sure you do stay with us and you subscribe and you tune into other content because we do cover XRP, Ripple, the stock market, and all the news based around that. Remember, we don't take any sponsorship from any outside sources. We do everything in-house, not like other YouTube channels which are there just for clicks to get engagement, giving you fake news, giving you links to leverage trading, which they know, and that's the one that annoys me the most because everyone does it thinking they're doing something completely fine, but what they're doing is giving you a link to go leverage trade. So every time you win and probably lose, they take commission, and they know you lose because the stats are 95% of day traders lose money. So we don't do any of that here. So thank you for tuning in, and we want to always do the best thing for our members, our viewers, and all the services we provide. The merch shop, we try to provide the best service, the quickest service, the best quality. The newsletter, we try to bring you the best news to you. The premium Discord, we try to give you everything at a fraction of a price that anyone else does. You go and see what trading courses cost anywhere else. They cost hundreds of dollars. We give it to you for free. And obviously the live YouTube channel, most of the time we earn pretty much nothing on the YouTube channel, but we love doing it and we love doing the right thing. So thank you everyone, and I hope you understand the difference between our channel and others.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I'm now going to give you my final thoughts. And of course, as we always have to do, especially on days like today, this is where it gets really hard for me now. You ready? Because it's time to do the stars of the show. And I've got quite a few to read, but I'm going to do it. Are you ready? The stars of the show, before we go over to extra, starts in 3, 2, 1. The stars of the show today are, here we go. Buckle up. And the stars of our show today, so here we go. Subscribers, these are our new subscribers today. Thank you. Savinda, Yannick, Agersi, Richard, Tom, Cormac, Sebas, TTM, Moore, Messes, and Anthony, Godwin, Frank, Marcia, George, Tay, Tor, John, Aris, Michael, MS, A Day in the Life, Labrador, Taboo, It's Me, Guardian, I, Nick, Sir, Dean, E2494, Brandon, Uri, Abdi, VM, Matt, Johans, Fowles, Eli, Misty, Brad, Brad Garlinghouse, Brad, Fred, Mike, somebody I can't pronounce, Suchai Communication, Lofton GM Estelle, The Goldwing, Jonathan Flyboy, Edit T, John Farmer, Don Framer, Drawback, Catherine, Mr. Buster, Baden, Junito, Re6192, Salah, Nitty, Grant, Sith, the Sith, oh, hello. You know, my godfather was Kenny Baker, R2D2, Alpha, Julian, Fabio, ADM, and Financial Fitness. New members, Mella, Danny, Aisha, Spade, Nate, 1970, Ahead of It, Christopher, Stephen, Richard, Alexander, Savage, Faith Creations, Darko, and Super Chats from Crow, Savage Faith, Kent, Poorman, Richman, Brian, Spade, Thailand, Matthias, Mama, SNK, and 1 of 7 billion. Oh yeah, check that out. That's how you read a list of credits. Oh, God. Anyway, my final thoughts, guys, as we say goodbye and thank you. Thank you for tapping the like button. Thank you for subscribing. As I say, it's my phrase. I use it in my music all my life when I toured all over the world as the World Piano Man. I've been doing this now for 41 years. This year in October, it'll be my 41st year in October of being in the same business since I was 16 years of age, entertainment. I always say I give you my lifetime and you give me the time of my life. I love what I do. It's the best job in the world. I'm going to be here every single day until I'm dead. I mean, you know, might as well say it, lay it on the ground there. There it is. So I was going, well, yeah, kind of obvious really, but who would say it? I just did. Let me give you my final thoughts. Thank you very much for tuning in. As you can see, I thought I'd try the look of Sensei. It seems to work for him, so the ladies apparently like it. So there you go. Give you my final thoughts. Oop-beat, doo-beat, doo, shadoot and doop-be-doop-be-doo-be-doo-wap. Yeah. All right, my thoughts of the day. It was nice to see Brad Garlinghouse get his day in court, or get his day at the US Senate at least. And thank you for everybody who tuned in, and thank you for everyone who took part, and Sensei for putting it all together for me. I had no idea. I couldn't find that link for Toffee. Couldn't find it anywhere. But anyway, it was a great presentation. It wasn't as exciting as it may have been, but it's XRP and crypto growing up. I think it's good. It's now getting in front of the right people. It's being discussed in the right ways. There was a bit of argy-bargy, weren't there? It's blame Trump for this or don't blame Trump for that. All kinds of people trying to win points off each other. But at the end of the day, crypto today made its way in front of the US Senate, presented in a fairly decent way most of the time, and it was good. For investors of XRP, I think it was a good day. You've seen a nice little rally today. It's trimmed a little bit, but not really dumping, just holding for the next level. We can see, conservatively, a $10 XRP without sort of too much worry or time. There'll be some ups and downs in between, as there is on the S&P. So I'm very happy to continue covering XRP and supporting it in any way I can. Remember, I only own the S&P. I'm not here to pump and dump anything, just to provide a service of community, friendship, fun, entertainment, and hopefully the best information brought from our sources that we share with you. So thank you very much. We're going to end the stream now. There'll be no closing bell because I'm going to go lie down in a dark corner because I'm very, very old and I'm very, very tired. That's it from me. I will see you back in the morning. Back to normal tomorrow. We'll do a Members Day catch-up reviews. Thank you for your patience if you gave me a super chat going, where the bloody hell is my review? Well, when things sort of take precedent and priority, we have to follow that. I'm sure you understand. We couldn't cancel today's event for a review. As much as everybody is important, we have to sort of sometimes think, what's the bigger picture? But tomorrow, the bigger picture is you once again with your reviews. Thank you so much indeed. As we come to an end, it will take you to the extra channel. Join us as the rest of the world tunes in at different time zones. If you've heard it all before and you don't want to get a replay, just let it run in the background. It helps promote the shows. Just mute it if you don't want to hear it again. But the chat will be live. You can talk to people in the live chat, talk to me in the studio because I'll be still here for a while. And that's it from me. I look forward to seeing you all back tomorrow morning for the opening bell right after Sensei's breakfast show. Sensei, if you stick around, I'll give you a private call and basically have a go at you for your lights and your flipping cardboard and your undoing your shirt. But apart from that, mate, it'll be a good conversation because we did a good show. Overall, at least I did. That's it from me. Have a wonderful afternoon. As always, take care of yourselves and each other. Ta-ra for now. Bye-bye.